I know you're the worrying kind. Is there any way, or do you like not being found? In time the light will fade. Don't you know I worry about you all the time? I'm hoping what I said could make you change your mind, though it doesn't really matter when my hands are tied. I'm trying to walk across the bridges that I've burned. My only way to you is gone, the tide has turned. So give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat. Trapped inside, I forgot to look beyond and see the other side. So give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat. Now that's an understatement. To walk alone, I guess it's my repayment. Please give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat. see sunlight. We've been drinking all that cheap wine all night, acting stupid, but it feels so right. I know that we will all be just fine, but tonight I just wanna dance it off. Ignore the world with me tonight. Wanna dance it off. Put your body next to mine.
Welcome to Zotac Cup Valorant, powered by Nvidia and LG Ultragear in association with Crucial and Corsair. This is my camera breaking.
It's a broken webcam.
Right at the wrong time. Welcome to Zotac Cup Valorant, powered by Nvidia and LG Ultragear in association with Crucial and Corsair. This is a cross-region tournament aimed at matching the best teams in South Asia against the best teams in Southeast Asia for a massive prize pool of 15,000 US dollars and the crown of APAC Champions. We're here in our final day. We have 2 matches coming up for you today. I am Leg Day. I'm joined by Kremer. And, well, Kremer, this is going to be spicy.
Yeah, that it is. I don't think you ever could have broke at a worse time there. But hey, we've done all the bug fixes. They're out of the way now. We've got ourselves 2 incredible matches. We've got a lower bracket final where Full Sense are going to be battling out against Action PH in the Filipino Thai Derby. The winner, of course, will progress on to the grand finals where they will be playing against Kingsman, the Malay Titans. Of course, Harry, these 2 teams have definitely had their fair share of action throughout this tournament, both of which, Full Sense particularly, slogging their way through the lower bracket. Action PH, while they were able to go through the upper, it was a series of 2-1s which were able to just get them into that upper semi-final, where they were now, of course, knocked down to play against Full Sense at the hands of the Kingsmen.
Yeah, we'll be able to bring up our bracket soon, but this is our matchup, of course. Full Sense versus Action PH, and both of them, Kremer, like you said, they're going to be playing for a chance at revenge. Kingsman is kind of gone on the take out all the big boys run. Their first matchup in the upper bracket was up against Full Sense, and everyone was like, okay, Full Sense went to Champions. They won APAC LCQ. These guys are kind of good at Valorant, but somehow, some way, 2-1. The Malay Titans managed to take them on down. And then, of course, yesterday, which you guys must have been watching because you're all good SA and SEA fans, it was an intense matchup between Action PH and Kingsman. But Kingsman has taken down both of these teams now.
You're absolutely right, they have. And for me, Kingsman have been on the up recently. They have been really delivering in a lot of games, actually. And for me, that comes off the back of the fact that they just work so well as a team. We saw in the game against Action PH, it was Georgie and Eman, who were both, and of course, over on Icebox, are you, surprisingly, who were all single-handedly destroying Kingsman. But the Kingsmen, they have a pretty nice mentality of, you can't kill all of us every single round. You know, one man can't do that. And so they just take their battles as a team. They are always in a position to be traded, and it means their teamwork is what allowed them to take that 2-1 victory against Action PH. For this lower final, Harry, I think that for Action PH, they need to kind of take a leaf out of Kingsman's book. Trying to individually match up against John Olsen, against PTC, against Chalala, you are going to struggle, and it ends up being a bit unpredictable if you put so much emphasis on the fact that you have to win your individual games. However, if you take a leaf out of Kingsman's book, you start trading one another, you play it as a team, it suddenly becomes a little bit easier.
It's not just about winning games as well, Kramer. You can also win a load of clout. We have our Zotac MVP standings. And, well, these are pretty important because the winner of the Zotac MVP is going to be walking away with an RTX 3060 when all is said and done. Let's check in here. And it's actually someone who's been eliminated already in the losers semis. Nigma Galaxy's Zespu is currently sitting at 5 map MVPs, and we'll be awarding one of these after each map.
You're absolutely right. And for Zesbu, I think he knows full well that both John Olsen, Georgie, and PTC are all coming for that 5 MVP title right now. And, well, if I was Zesbu, I would be worrying a little bit, hoping that maybe Chalala has an incredible game, or maybe RU is able to do a standout performance once more, just so that they can be the ones to get those MVP points, preventing Johnny Olsen and Georgie from doing just that. Of course, Harry, this is going to be a close match, and of course, we were able to speak to our production team before we started, and I have some predictions for you, if you're ready for them, Harry.
Read them out for me, Kremer.
Sure. So we've got Formatic, Purple Shrimp, Devil Dog, and Obby, who have all said 2-1 Full Sense. You're in that field as well, Harry, aren't you?
I am. I am also in the 2-1 camp. I think that Full Sense's executions are just too powerful to be stopped by a team that looked a little bit more individualistic yesterday. I think that there might be a couple of pushes that get punished, and when these executes come through onto sites, will they be able to cover each other and create safe zones?
Tell you what, though, that isn't it for predictions. I said it would be 2-0 Full Sense, and then Sean, our direct producer here, he's controlling all the scenes you see at the moment. He said, completely other side of the spectrum, he thinks 2-0 Action PH. He's
Sean's
the only
an
man.
Action PH believer.
Yeah,
I mean,
out of all 7 of
technically,
us, the only one who thinks Action PH are going to win.
If we look at our tournament bracket, like within the ecosystem of the Zotac Cup Valorant, Action PH are the favorites. They went very deep into the winners bracket. They got to the winners bracket final. Meanwhile, Full Sense, they dropped out in the first round of the upper bracket. They've been having to slog their way through the lower bracket to even get here. And Action PH, while it has been clean all the way through, it certainly has been a bunch of impressive results. And we saw Georgie there in that table for the MVP. They have been consistently impressing us over the course of these matches. Speaking of which, let's have a look at some rosters, shall we? We've got either Full Sense or Action PH first. It doesn't matter. There's plenty to say about either one. Going to bring on up Full Sense right here. And this is going to be a name, Kramer, that a lot of people are going to be familiar with because they went to Champions. They won APAC LCQ, beating out Korean teams, Japanese teams, and the best of the best in SEA.
That's impressive, isn't it? Just that title alone is impressive. And I really like how Full Sense are established. Yeah, they don't rely on John Olsen on that jet. They don't rely on P2C on that Reyna. Instead, we see Chalala having some incredible games. Chalala, he plays Astra like she's a duelist. And for some reason, no matter what agent he picks, it's a duelist. Even if he isn't playing it like a duelist. And it means that we see 3 heavy fraggers on Full Sense. We saw he was playing the chamber yesterday, which means you then have that extra bit of firepower. That's 4 players now who are consistently fragging. Lammy Stacks doesn't have to do anything at this point. It would be nice if he hits his frags. Unfortunately, if you are Action PH, you'll regrettably know that he does. He hasn't shied away from the raise in the past, and so that means that he too is a man who can land his shots. I can't help but think that for Full Sense, they are a very universal team, rather than Action PH, who are a little bit more specialized and being complete masters, but only in their role.
Yeah, yesterday, Full Sense, they had a little bit of a nail-biter up against Nigma Galaxy. And interestingly, they opted into the chamber twice, which was kind of unprecedented. Admittedly, there's not going to be too much historical data for chamber, only just entered the competitive rule set, but they bought in the chamber on Haven, and I believe they also bought in the chamber on... Did they bring it to Breeze? They did bring it to Breeze, but they actually swapped the player who was playing it. I think they put Shalala on it instead. Let's move over to Action PH, though, because this is a roster we can also talk a bunch about. For me, I'm looking to Emin here to bring out a consistent performance, because Emin is absolutely able to go in about 8 rounds, get 20 frags. Like, it was just multi-kill after multi-kill from Emin on the race yesterday on Bind. But then when we went to Icebox, Emin uninstalled Valorant.
Yeah, granted, RE was more than happy to pick up the kills that Eman was leaving.
Install double Valorant.
Yeah, exactly. Put on another save file. Both, when you do look at Action PH, you look at Eman, you look at Georgie, and you think these guys are probably some of the best duelists in the tournament. I'm inclined to agree with that. I think John Olsen and Georgie are tied a little bit. Same for PTC and Eman, but I don't think anyone else really comes close to the caliber which these guys can deliver. But here's the thing. For Action PH, it is more than just the teamwork. These guys have some incredible individual performances. That was but a taste yesterday over on Icebox, where he went 20 kills in about 8 rounds.
Let's bring up our head-to-head. I believe it's Georgie versus Thee, and this is going to be very important here, Kremer, because we know that Full Sense can get executes onto sites. We know that they can take those sites away and then have to be retaken against. But the question is, what can Georgie do in terms of coordinated takes of Action PH against a Full Sense Sentinel who is very much prepared for these? Thee might decide to bring out the chamber again. That's going to mess with the jet with the slows.
It absolutely is. And you look at the ADR, and it sort of shows that clash of play styles. Georgie, he will get that up out. He will get into your face, and he will just kill. Full Sense, they are a little bit more methodical. They do usually fall back onto their executions. And what that means is that when you push in as 5, your duelist isn't going to be able to get as much mileage. It does kind of restrict them a little bit. And that is the trade-off you make when you do have that extra layer of execution to how you attack sites. We'll take a look at our map veto. Now, for me, this is going to be the most interesting part of this series. Where will these battles be waged? And that isn't the veto I was expecting.
What? Why? What? Why has Force to go to Ascent? They lost this to Team Exploit, and while the Pakistani team is definitely a force to be reckoned with, they've
You'd
only
expect them to win that. That was the only map Exploit won in the whole tournament.
I mean, Exploit only won that map the entire tournament. And
yeah,
this is where you decide to go. What is happening on Ascent? What has changed? Admittedly, recently, against a team called Attack All Round, who are not the most prolific, we have seen a single win for Full Sense on Ascent. But this begs the question, why not go to Breeze when you looked so good there yesterday?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I'm really quite surprised by this. Something that I do want to highlight, though, is our second map pick of Haven by Action PH. They currently boast a 100% win rate on Haven. And sometimes when you hear that, you think, they've only played it once. That's clever what you did there, Crabber. No, these guys have played it 8 times. And that's, and the last, I think, 6 of them have been this year alone. And they haven't lost.
Yeah,
There are some good teams in here as well.
For those of you interested, our data set we're drawing for statistics starts from the 1st of December last year, so that it includes things like Champions and other late year tournaments for both SA and SEA. And you're right, Kremer, 8 plays, 8 wins. And this is about as good a home pick as you can get for Action PH.
Yeah.
Icebox, of course, both of these teams are going to be pretty confident here. Let's have a look at these. Oh, hello there. We have ourselves a breach. I keep calling him Fracture in my mind because he's just universal on Fracture. That is an interesting pick.
Choose your agent.
That is very interesting, considering how the Breach has only been run once by Full Sense. That was, I believe, a few days ago, and it did win against Attack All Around, but they've only played this comp once. The KO is actually something that they were relying on quite a bit alongside the Killjoy. Instead, that's out the window. It's down to the Breach. And of course, over at Action PH, why change? Why fix something that isn't really broken? They are boasting a high win rate on Ascent, and they're just going to rinse, repeat, and play the same comp they have been for their last 4 games over with that KO, with that Killjoy. And honestly, I quite like it.
Well, here on Ascend, there must be some strat around this Breach, right? Because you don't go to a map that statistically you're pretty poor at unless you've come up with something pretty gnarly in scrims. And we know that Full Sense are an execute heavy team. And Breach is a pretty execute-heavy agent as far as it goes. We've seen it happen before with the Sky, so I'm expecting for this kind of synergy that we've seen between PTC, or as they may be in the lobby, Onliner and John Olsen when it comes to these entries. That might be what they're going to use to break this. I think that it needs to be a great attacking side from Full Sense. Otherwise, we're really going to start to question why they've picked this map.
You're absolutely right. Luckily, with their agent selection, I think the KO really helps them with this attacking side. So they are going to have a bit of an advantage when they switch. Over Full Sense, though, the Breach, I am so interested to see how this works. And to kickstart our Decider Finals, Full Sense going with a little bit of a push into mid here, looking to try and engage with that aforementioned KO, as John Olsen and Airman may have their first duel of many throughout this series.
Who will take the crown of SA and SEA? The final day has dawned here at the Zotac Cup Valorant. And John Olsen playing from mid here. Emin might wait for the sound of a reload before taking this swing. There it is with the frenzy. Good timing from Emin, but unfortunately, not good accuracy.
John Olsen needs to be careful here. He's giving his position away. Luckily, though, with no kill, Action PH are sort of up in the air to decide how Full Sense have reacted, but they've read it really damn well. Man, that's a beautiful ping there. Seeing all three members outside that A site now pretty much affirms to Action PH that this stack is in the right place. 30 seconds left, or about 35 seconds left now, and Full Sense needs to move quick.
Oh, they catch one with the bow in hand, but George is quick on the refrag. Now to try and pierce through this smoke is going to be so difficult. Can at least be assisted by a flashpoint. But look at this. Everyone else has left. They're going over towards what they opened up earlier. We saw John Olsen earlier in this round take down that door. So this is now free to enter, but Medeski's going to try and make it expensive. The right click misses the first time, but it does not the second. And it's right click city, baby, all over this. They need to hold on to the spike plant because they're running out of time. And now it's a 3v3 retake, but you're coming in with the backstab from PTC on the breach. They may well have already revealed themselves, but it does not matter because as far as the gunfights go, it's 3 for 3 in favor of Full Sense.
They take that pistol round in a fairly decided fashion, and they also make their statement to Action PH. This is their map. This is their place, their home ground. And as you said, Harry, there must be a reason they picked into Ascent here. Looks like they're going to show us exactly why. I really like this breach backstab he does with the Aftershock as well. It doesn't quite hit PTC, but it also shoehorns him into making sure that he has able to take that engagement onto our man who has to swing back to CT. Of course, 20 seconds left now of the buy time, and for the most part, Full Sense look like they're just going to fan out. Oh, we'll take a technical timeout.
And one of the things that is interesting about that first round is that it was we had some complaints about this yesterday, admittedly. I think it was mostly from Action PH when they were attacking Bind, getting very smart. But
yeah,
what getting very smart does in a pistol round is that it doesn't really set a precedent. So it continues, it sort of extends the time the defensive side need to get used to your tendencies.
Yeah, absolutely. And my worry is that when you are playing that smart, you're trying to fake your opponents, you're trying to get around them, you're trying to split on them. You can kind of lose a bit of core fundamentals when you do so, particularly if they use a mid-round calls. If we see Full Sense, say, halfway through the round, turn their attention, back away, go for a split. If there was an execution behind that, it kind of looked like it had the potential to be a bit shaky. Luckily, they rely on John Olsen to get the opening purely out of complete skill. Dashes in, gets us over, there's your opening, and then another mid-round call for Full Sense is to cancel that, then head back to B.
Medeski. Unfortunately, our focus on them is more about redemption than about pure unbridled ferocity. Yesterday was a bad day for Medeski, Kremer. Even on the map they won, it was not glorious for the Sentinel. But it's a new dawn, a new day, and they are currently 50% of their team's frags off the back of that classic right click. So there you go. You can take that statistic to the bank.
You're absolutely right. Of course, for those of you who are wondering what's happened to Tesseract, Tesseract's had a name change. He now goes by Shiro Defio. That's a pretty cool name. That's a really cool name, actually.
It's a pretty cool name.
We're going to ruin it, but it's a cool name.
As an MCU fan, I really did like the name Tesseract. It's so I'm kind of in two minds about it. Like, if they chose a real name lame, a lame name, then I'd be a lot less inclined to be generous. But Zero Defio, it runs off the tongue a little bit until we have many deaths.
That's a bit of ring to it, doesn't it? Of course, we're going to be seeing this technical timeout be extended by a little bit here. It's called by Action PH, so hopefully they can be able to get into this and recover this a bit quickly. But Harry, having seen the pistol rounds, do you want to stand by your prediction of 2-1?
I think so. I'm glad that Full Sense are not playing what they've played on Ascent before, because if they returned to the form they had, where they lost the only map that Team Exploit won in the playoffs,
yep,
I would have many questions. And admittedly, Full Sense, in their last attempt at Ascent, which was back on the 19th of January, they did play this breach. They played this comp exactly, in fact, and they won 13-5. It was against slightly less intimidating competition, but it's at least a proof of concept.
No, you're absolutely right. And for me, that proof of concept is enough. You really need to be able to figure out just how your strats are going to work. You know, you need to stress test them. The fact that that's gone for now makes me have a little bit more confidence in at least Action PH. Now, we have emphasized that Georgie needs to be able to deliver against John Olsen. He had a bit of a shaky pistol round. Granted, we were only talking about one round because, well, we're in technical time.
We've only got one round, boys.
It's in that one round data, in that one round issue, hopefully we'll be able to see if Georgie is able to kind of step it out, become the force buy.
Are you also gone? And are you yesterday had 2 pretty slow games and 1 absolutely manic game, Kremer.
Yeah.
They managed to pick up, I believe, 22 kills on their defensive side, and then the entirety of the attacking side on Icebox, I think they didn't get any kills. They maybe got 2.
You kind of do an average game in one half, and then you sort of get out your deck chair, pull out a beer, and that's you done for the seconds. The rest of you, since the rest of your team, you guys can do the rest. I've helped you this far. Hopefully we can fix these ping issues shortly. Something I want to note as well is both these teams are on boot camp. So both of them play from a team house. So it means that your tilt isn't a thing anymore. Regardless of how young players are, you don't tilt when your teammates are right next to you. It is a real... I'm impressed if you can tilt while your teammates are next to you, because it is bloody difficult.
Really have that reciprocal energy, especially when you've got the senior coaching figures there as well. They can really be a sort of a mental mediator. This has at least given a lot of planning time over to the side of Full Sense. Admittedly, there are better rounds for it, as they're likely going to be going into an anti-eco, and all you really need to do here is stop yourselves from running into a 5-stack of pistols where just in the crossfire, bullets will inevitably hit bodies.
Do you want to hear something that's pretty cool? Is Full Sense is... we took the HPH, they don't have a coach, right? Full Sense, they've done one better. They have 2 coaches. They have 2 coaches, Harry, which I think is awesome, because it means that Action PH, everything they've done has been anti-stratted. Absolutely everything. It makes me think that could be why we're seeing a bit of a hybrid composition when we move over to Ascent, because that KO pick has only happened once. It means that for Full Sense, they can't anti-strat just 1 game's worth of data. All
right, Kramer. We've got ourselves a longer pause, so it's time to talk some macro esports as a whole.
Yeah.
You come from CS, I come from Overwatch. The top level CS teams, how many coaches do they have on average?
1.
See that
always 1, and then you may have an analyst if you're feeling you really want to splash the cash.
That's where Overwatch is very different. I don't find it strange for a team to have 2 coaches. Like, some of our top tier teams have upwards of 3 coaches and an analyst, because they all focus on separate aspects of the game. Like, you'd have a tanking coach, you'd have like a mental coach, and then you'd have the overall leading coach. So maybe Valorant is trending more towards that, but admittedly, Valorant is a melting pot where influences from both these esports have started to coalesce together.
That's so interesting. How they're... damn. It's interesting how, they do just coalesce. I'm very surprised that we see it here, though, because this is, for Full Sense, I think that they were probably one of the first teams, particularly in Valorant, to go for the double coach setup. I don't think I'm putting my neck out too far when I say that there are not many teams who have gone double coach so far. It could explain as well why we're seeing such fast improvement in the entire SEA and SA scene.
More people dedicated to being the minds behind the game rather than the ones behind the triggers. Certainly would make some sense. I'm not sure how the coaching situation is in SA at the moment. I assume they're probably running the 1 coach special, which seems to be, admittedly, the a standard. This is a great fake. Oh, everyone's looking because of a drone, but guess what, boys? A is free. Now we've got to rotate back in, and a retake here from heaven with pistols would not be ideal. Moving through garden would certainly be a lot more desirable.
You're absolutely right, and for John Olsen, it's just a quick clear. Yes, Action PH, they sort of roll the dice here with a bit of a stack in mid. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and as they go for a flank, full sense, yeah, they get that spike plant, but it's nothing to turn your nose up at. In this case, the gamble of Action PH doesn't pay off, so now exits are the main key here.
The stares it down. The Bulldog is the perfect weapon for this at range. You are going to be able to outgun these classics almost entirely. And they know that a lot of these corners are not occupied. So they don't have to clear those as fastidiously as while moving through. That's why Love isn't doing the old 1-2 on the 50-50. But now they know that this angle is potentially quite occupado. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's going to be 4. Where's the last player? They're just going to go in and die to the spike. Medeski embraces the void.
That was incredible. That was absolutely incredible, and well, for the Love family, that's going to be a nice way to start your series. Even though it's eco frags, it's confidence kills, Harry, and hey, he's just picked 4 of them. Now we see the full buy come out of Action PH, though. This is where Action PH need to show to Full Sense that even though it's Full Sense's map pick, or even though it's their map pick, they need to show that it's more than just an attacking side. And as we see the rifles come out, there is going to be Phantoms around the board, a few Vandals to complement it. The ults are on the horizon here. Action PH haven't really killed so far this game. So ults are a pipe dream, meaning it all comes down to aim duels here.
0 Point doesn't get any suppressions right here, but already this presence has been called on in. They know that this is going to be a bit of a stack with the bonus. John Olsen gets the opening frag. That's an upgrade, boys. Over to the Vandal. John Olsen can't believe his luck as Georgie's going to spray through the door and will not find any bodies. The spike is planted, and already, Crema, for a 3rd round, this is looking pretty good for the side of Full Sense. Georgie in the corner gets shot down. Surely this can't be a flawless on a bonus. Everyone's going to get an upgrade for free. This is a disaster for Action PH.
This is an absolute collapse, and you're against the bonus of Full Sense as well. These are Spectres doing this much damage to you, and sure, Deathio, he's been spotted. This is the Hellhounds are coming, Harry, and John Olsen. He's there to deliver that final blow. 3-0 Full Sense now lead as they look to show Action PH that this is going to be as one-sided as they dare dictate it. And for Action PH, I fear that may be a reality that's setting in if they're unable to turn around this momentum. The lockdown comes online as well over on the Love family after, of course, that lovely 4K he got against the Eco Frags. All it took was an extra kill just to teeter him over the edge. And with that lockdown, we could be seeing a very fast usage over on B, where the ecoing members of Action PH are going to have to pray their sheriffs are what stops them.
4 members survived a bonus, Kramer. That's a free upgrade to rifles, basically. John Olsen goes in, closes the door. Still fastidious in the execution, but needs to deal with Timmy. Moving in as they smoke behind themselves. There is a little bit to be done here from the pistols. Already it's better than the full rifle buy for Action PH, but I'm not sure if that's going to be much to write home about. Zero Deathio behind the point. Will they be able to do anything here? No, they drown in bullets instead. And are you? We've seen them pull off some magical things on the defense in 1 versus 3s. They pick up a fallen Vandal, which just became a lot more doable, but unfortunately, they didn't get the freebie onto PTC. They know about 2 people underneath here. Manages to avoid a little bit of fire before simply drowning in a bunch of wall pen bullets.
Gets swarmed at the end without armor as well. That bullet pen is the same. That bullet penetration through Boathouse is just the same as being shot. And I quite like the approach that Georgie and Zero Deathio had there, which was to just bait and switch constantly and keep Full Sense just adjusting between players. And that worked really well for the first 2 kills. Unfortunately, once Georgie falls, Zero Deathio's sort of isolated back over in Boathouse. Because of that, though, we're going to be seeing them get through that deco, move to the full buy, and I believe we have an op in the hands of Georgie as well, which could be the turning point for the Filipino side.
First time we're seeing a proper default as well, coming through from Full Sense. How will this be responded to? Seems like it's a wide Diaspora here. Classic defense. A shut door in mid. is an interesting choice. That being the mid to B split, which might be a little bit more difficult to deal with now. And John Olsen, will they test Georgie, who doesn't appear to be quite online yet? And they will just back off towards a stack here.
The love fire. I'm surprised it's the Killjoy that's entering here. Well, with that lockdown, that explains why Action PH, they've got themselves a site to retake, and full sense, they're about to show them exactly why.
However, they've been slowed down there by the Nano Swarm, and here's the Operator good to go, backing away and avoiding being detained. Good movement from Georgie. Still 5 members on either side. The agents are good! What is this? That was a wallbang somehow, I believe, through Boathouse onto someone who was commuting elsewhere. That is absolutely hideous, but the trade is good nonetheless. 4 versus 3 now, and finally, Action PH have numbers on their side. One member gets pinged, they expect one in the back here. They certainly do not. They will only grab one, and it's down to a 3 versus 2.
One enemy remaining.
Snacks will not be able to survive for long. Medeski will make sure that Chalala can't look in 2 directions at once. And finally, a round for APH here. Action PH have completed a retake, and I think you might have lagged out.
I love that op play from Georgie there. I don't know how on earth he was able to kill PTC there, but something tells me he's not going to question that. A solid shot. Look at this. Just instantly shuts him down, and I think he was able to use his kind of slow fall to just peek over the top of that smoke, get a general idea of where PTC is, and Hail Mary through the smoke, and it just works. With that, Action PH are going to put themselves on the board. This will embolden Full Sense to move to their next full buy. Remember, though, Full Sense do have that ult advantage. Action PH, I believe they're 1 away from their own Cosmic Divide, but right now, Full Sense actually have them available. Action PH, do we see the expenditure of their own lockdown come the retake here as John Olsen gets a wonderful opening?
Through a smoke, Kremer, and through a wall as well. They hailed Mary, and Mary hailed right back. And now your info gather is going to be entirely reliant on the Sova on the defense. So this gives a little bit of a moment here, a pause for Full Sense to figure out how they want to play against a severely handicapped Action PH defense.
Tell you what, Harry, it may be handicapped, but it's still bloody deadly. Full Sense just going quiet outside A right now, hoping to maybe sell the idea to Action PH that they've gone back into their default and for Action PH to go for the 2-2 split. Instead, we're seeing no one take one step back, and because of that, Georgie, he may be able to wreak havoc on them.
Oh, Georgie, the turn away isn't fast enough, but they can still move on. What a big frag from John Olsen, taking out their counterpart, and now you've got to worry about an intruder on the site, bringing out the Blade Storm, but only 2 people are going to be around to even try and catch them. Zero Deathio's only got a Spectre and 10 HP, so certainly not a huge threat here for John Olsen. Not quite as accurate as we've come to expect. A pair of updrafts, but maybe at this moment, they are simply more concerned with surviving, continuing to build up this economic battle. There is the chance here for a save. It may well be demanded, but that Operator, think about where Georgie died. That is absolutely inaccessible.
That it is. And for sure, Deathio, I think he is hoping for an exit potentially. And for Lamisex, does that ping him? Oh, it does. John Olsen's now on for the ace, actually.
Could well be. Will they pick up the offensive Operator? I think they're going to opt out of the attack op. But that was the worst possible place for the op to be dropped. You could see it. Just completely inaccessible. You could see the Sova and Zero Death here just like, oh no, it's over there, boys.
Not happening.
I don't want it.
with it being gone, though, means that Full Sense, regardless, 5-1 up, and they've made sure that Action PH don't have an op. And while Georgie was able to get a bit of mileage from it, was it worth that heavy a loss? And honestly, I don't think so. With a huge power spike now for Action PH, not just in the next buy round with their weaponry, but with their ultimates. They have everything online, but Airman, who's just 1 away from getting his null command anyway. Full Sense have been using theirs kind of periodically throughout this game, so they really need to be careful for the Action PH dumpage of utility.
I mean, Emin may almost have their null command, but all of those ultimate orbs are from deaths. They are on the edge of becoming James Bond. Don't love to see a 007, but still, funny.
It is still hee funny.
As you can tell, I have a degree in English literature.
I remind myself that every now and then. That's a full sense.
Like what Ian Fleming taught me.
Full sense. Head their way back round to A, and they may have had an inkling it's a stack, and this is a beautiful call off the course of their IGL. And so they make their way through a lobby. They need to make particularly sure that they don't take too long with this, because Action PH, they're going to figure out fairly quickly that B main's just been abandoned.
All right, a clear here of wine should be easily done with Nano Swarm. Fastidious as Georgie goes up high, expends the second one of these upcharts, but they just found the wrong timing. Everyone enters for free, and it's going to be all about the retake for old Georgie. There's no point in saving when you got the blades in hand. They do not move across this. They're going to opt in for the Rolling Thunder, and this is absolutely fine. Just take on down through this. It's going to be Hunter's Fury for Hunter's Fury. It's so smart, Kremer. Zero Death, you knew where Lammy Snacks was going to be coming from. And now Georgie with the right click. It's beautiful. It's a claimancy. But however, right now, Georgie is a little bit otherwise occupied. However, what a retake. The continuum of ultimates there was so well planned by Action PH.
Thrifty.
That was really well timed, as you mentioned, and they just hit one after another and I love how they sort of bait Full Sense into expending theirs as well. They sort of hear Lammy Stacks pull it out. All right, Hunter's Fury versus Hunter's Fury, that's an engagement that Action PH think they'll win, and they do just that. They shut down Full Sense whilst burning almost all the remaining Full Sense ultimates. Yes, they have their Null Command, they still have their Cosmic Divide. Full Sense have one of theirs to expend, but as we enter the final round of this half, Action PH, if they can make it a third, then they're really in a pretty good position.
Final round of this half. I'm not entirely sure.
Maths on cast. Maths on cast. I do apologise, Harry. It's
That's fine.
In the UK.
What we need to talk about, though, is that PTC used one of their main capture techniques of the Rolling Thunder in what was a pretty unwinnable scenario. That severely limits the options of Full Sense.
Absolutely does. And for Full Sense, they don't really have any site-taking capabilities when it comes to ultimates, bar the lockdown, and of course that Rolling Thunder. We're not seeing that Rolling Thunder for us this half. We might see another lockdown, but we're at the stage now where Action PH, that Null Command will sort that out, no problem. We're at a stage now where Full Sense have been shoehorned into just dueling their way to sites, and that supreme teamwork that we've seen from them kind of matters for Nouts here.
One of the things that's really interesting what Full Sense have done here is that they had two people escorting PTC to get that ultimate orb. They want to get a second Rolling Thunder here, and they will have access to the ultimate orb in A as well, so maybe they will hand that one over. An avoidance of a fault line, and now Medeski goes to the area that might well believe to be cleared, waiting for someone to exit the smoke. I'm afraid there's nothing more for you here. Medeski gets themselves a pair, but Zero Deathio has no such luck. A 0 point is utilized here to attempt to go for the retake, and you simply need to hold on this. The Molotov's going to land directly on top of the planter, and while Emin will not be able to get the kill right there, maybe you will. Once again, the heroics will return. And there goes the last. Grab yourself a resurrection, You're looking good today. Action PH will pick up a third.
Was maybe looking to repeat his performance at Icebox last time, as I'm seriously impressed by him at the moment. And while Eman certainly hasn't had the Eman effect on KO, he is still setting up kills. He is still harassing opponents. He is still using his utility to enable his team where his aim can't. I'm up in the air about this. My prediction was a 2-1 in favor of Full Sense. Seeing Action PH try and turn this half around, I wouldn't be surprised if Action PH are able to maybe respond a bit better than we may have initially suspected. Granted, this is their map pick, Harry. They do want to be here, and what it means for Full Sense is that it could just be a matter of slogging through this map and then winning the next two. But Ascent right now is looking relatively even.
One of the things we talked about right after a pistol round, Cram, was that because it was a little bit of a smart, fakey pistol round, it didn't really set much of a precedent as to how the utility from Full Sense was going to be used. But now as we're getting deeper into these rounds, 2 retakes in a row, it feels like Action PH have decided, you know what? We're just going to allow our anchors to try and trade out on these entries because we can win some retakes off the back of just playing a KO here. And I think that Emin being able to avoid the initial assaults has been pretty good for the chances of getting a retake here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And with what I want to see actually is an op come out of Full Sense. We haven't really seen anything like that at all. And while a lot of SEA teams have shied away from the attacking op, I still think it can have its usage. And I'm waiting to see a team who can exploit that, because Action PH, we really picked up on it yesterday in their game against Kingsman, that their effectiveness comes from that op, and they're just not using it. However, Cosmic Divide goes down, it may just be the rifles that have to carry us through this one.
Question is this a fake of the technique to just go and plant on the corner? They might be waiting for Emin here to go in with the Molotov. Georgie, bad timing there, but you look at that. There's the molly. That's going to deny the plant in the corner. And Sean Olsen simply waiting to see if anyone wants to come in. This has been very well counterplayed. RU takes down John Olsen. Yes, the jet is down, but it doesn't matter too much for Action PH. They're not looking to enter a site here, Kremer. And it feels like that should have been a fake. When you look at... oh, look at where the spike is as well. This is unwinnable for Lammy Snacks IMO unless there's some absolute heroics in the gunplay. But when you're looking for a technique that's that common, that you're going to see it in my lobbies, I would have loved to have seen that be a fake.
Yeah, a fake would have worked as well, because Action PH, realizing that they've burned a lot of Full Sense ults. Full Sense, the second they commit an ult, they're going to be obliged to stay. You know, they have that sunken cost fallacy. But Action PH, granted, maybe I would say a bit of a mistake actually, to rotate everyone in what really should have been a fake from Full Sense.
I guess that continues to add to the air of mystery. The Full Sense certainly had a plan, but they could not execute on it as well as they would like. They were stopped by that fragment. Shalala, yes, the crosshair does indeed fit in the life preserver.
That is pretty cool. I quite like how Full Sense tried to recover that, to be honest. I do like how it was attempted to have been held, because we did see that smoke get thrown by the jet. We saw the jet kind of and ah about dashing through that. It was all in plans to try and allow the spike to get planted regardless. Instead, we're going to have to see what Action PH can do now. So the highlight is every single player is pulling their weight. The top 4 fraggers all on 6 kills. And as mentioned, they're taking the leaf at Kingsmansburg. They're not allowing Georgie to have to be the solo carry, or Airman to have to be the solo carry. Instead, with everyone all sort of 10 kills here or there, it means that Georgie loses a lot of pressure on himself, because he's got teammates who can back him up.
It's a testament that here, in the 10th round, Kremer, Action PH's defense has finally forced a less than ideal buy from the side of Full Sense. They had an economic gift in getting 4 people to survive their bonus round and claim 3 rifle buys off of so many players on the side of Action PH. At that point, it was in question as to whether they'd ever have economic problems on their attacking half if they kept it up. Now Action PH, they seem to have got the read on this. And no one's going to be detected. Oh, not sure if I like that being destroyed.
So they're committed to lockdown anyway.
And those storms are used. That gravity well threatens to suck some people in. That's 3 people concussed though, and that allows for the crossing here. John Olsen still 1 away here from the Blade Storm. I'd love to see them get themselves a kill and then hand off for Vandal as they use the ultimate, considering that some of their teammates are very much underserved when it comes to the weaponry. The Rolling Thunder still available. Georgie going to be tagged right here. But how will a retake work? 5 versus 4. Moving in. It's a little bit of a fake from Georgie when it comes to the Cloudburst. They enter themselves in, and they're thus far unnoticed. Medeski with 2, and Emin comes in as well. PCC's only got Sheriff at the back of the site, and it's 1 Sheriff to lay down the law against the Rebels of Action PH. Georgie only needs a body shot, but it simply will not be delivered. 4 versus 3 on the retake is well done by Action PH.
All things considered, though, they are against pistols and the odd picked up Vandal. So the fact that they lose 3 players and have a spike plant isn't great. But as you mentioned, it's around. It's their equalizer as well. And having found, I believe, the last 4 in a row, they're going to have money anyway. And for Action PH, I would argue that's definitely going to be the driving factor here. As we enter the latter stages of this first half, I really want to see if Action PH try and change the tempo and start going aggressive onto Full Sense, because we're seeing, more often than not, a more retake setup over on B. And while last round it proved that it works, we're at the stage now where Full Sense may be very, very much expecting there to be no resistance should they dive to backside.
And retakes are going to get even harder to deal with when you get stuck in that site alongside or inside the area of effect of a lockdown, because Medeski's got that good to go. And I talked about Medeski having a bit of a stinker of a day yesterday, but today Valorant is a lot more Medeski's friend.
Oh, John Olsen is just hoping for timing, Harry. Timing is everything here, and that Blade Storm. God, those knives are sharp.
Indeed they are. Emin may get taken down here. Zero Death, yo, does their best to try and dodge. The third blast comes on out, but nothing's going to be secured. The door may well be closed, and John Olsen's going to try and isolate a fight on the site right here. But they get themselves both suppressed and suppressed permanently by the Vandal. Georgie's around the back. They'll grab one, but no more than this. And now it's 2 versus 4, and still Kremer no plant. The Spike is at least home free. And the rotations aren't going to be pressing up too much. And maybe now you can fake having left. Unfortunately, Timmy is going to give away all of your secrets, because Timmy's survived all of the fray. They've been replaced. And with 2 anchors on B site, this is unlikely to be a plant and unlikely to be around.
He hasn't quite seen anyone yet, but he doesn't have to. The confirmation of presence will be enough, but only 10 seconds left, Harry. What can Love do?
Well, they simply don't have the time, but they do have the gunplay to try and make it work. Medeski plays it calmly. They stand still. They channel their inner Timmy, and they do not miss.
With that, there's going to be a 6-5 lead being established by Action PH. Considering how dominant Full Sense was when we started this map, I'm so impressed that Action PH have been able to recover it. This is exactly what we saw from Kingsman yesterday. Exactly. Action PH, they start leading every single map, and then towards the end of it, we eventually see that recovery come out from Kingsman. They take their lead, and then they either win or we see a back and forth the rest of the game. For Action PH, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a win here, because their confidence is looking unrivaled.
Not only that, Kremer, they're good to get 7 here. Last round of the half, they have themselves a full complement of arms, including an operator that can be backed up with a Blade Storm. And so many other ultimates. Still, they won't take out PTC. PTC needs to be so careful with these peaks, Kremer. He's the only ultimate that's currently available. If you lose that Rolling Thunder, you lose your trump card.
Georgia could be hit by the stun here.
We'll manage to avoid it. It's within the site instead. A right click. A big old greeting for John Olsen. Oh, Johnny boy, you're going to be hitting the ground soon. Emin moves onto the site here to try and play anchor. We saw this on Bind so much yesterday. Emin just catches aggression and hits headshots. And Georgie and Emin in tandem with such a fearsome duo. Georgie keen to prove just that, staying within the breach utility for as long as possible, so their swing isn't expected. A beautiful defensive play there.
Switching sides.
Well, for Action PH, that's going to be their 7th zone 5 at the end of the half. And honestly, I'm really quite impressed by them. That is a really, really well-recovered half. And they were, I think, 4-1 down at some point. In the just absolute last stages, they wake up and they look dominant. Remember, though, 7-5 on your defender side of Ascent. That's actually about average, all things considered. Full Sense, I think they're going to be more than aware of that. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of our first half, just so we can see how Action PH were able to turn this around.
I think they ended up 5-1 at some points, Kremer. It
was pretty one-sided. That was for sure.
Really looking like we started to understand why Full Sense wanted to go to this map. John Olsen was outdoing Emin. Emin was 0-6-0 for a while, and that was not inspiring. But Emin definitely found their groove towards the end, and once they got that first null command on point where they could start suppressing everybody, get that increased fire rate, the retakes started to look a lot more fearsome. Because I think one of the problems that Action PH had earlier in this was trying to pre-rotate before the plant, and it meant that they had a lot of angles that they were having to check, which were untenable. John Olsen playing here, I'm not a huge fan of. Like, when that wall goes down, you're exposed to every single position on the map.
You're absolutely right. I'm surprised that for Full Sense, their map pick isn't going, not only not in their favor, but it's also not as close as I would expect. I was expecting to do 6-6 and then overtime. The 7-5, if Action PH win the pistol round, then Full Sense are in a lot of trouble. And while it doesn't look so much now, once you do lose that pistol round, but if you lose 2 crucial rounds, then you end up being, what, 10, 11, 5 down? Then it has to be a huge comeback.
And with the breach as well over something like a Sky, you're definitely going to be looking to try and play a retake-heavy strategy on the defense here as opposed to a pre-rotation. Because when you consider Sky versus Breach, or you can put Sky and KO in kind of the same category here, Breach does not provide information. Breach gives clearing, Breach gives unfair duels. Breach is a great agent in their own right, but they do not give confirmation of presence.
Yeah, absolutely right. And you can see all the support staff at Full Sense there behind them. Those double coaches and Action PH there, the room behind them, empty.
Coach Akimbo.
Yeah, they are literally akimboing coaches there, both of which behind Labby Snacks. So, Labby Snacks, Emily, not just the have an audience, but that may have bolted him to step up his game a bit, as it is still looking interesting for the members of Full Sense. But you need to remember, this is absolutely recoverable. 7-5, as we said. All you need is 2 rounds, and we end up seeing a very, very different game where Full Sense are on a huge catch-up. It plays the other way. Full Sense for the pistol round, then it's level pegging. And we go from what would end up being 7-7.
No other defense, though. John Olsen might opt into the operator a couple more times. Then again, it's easier said than done. It's like trying to solve poverty by saying, why don't you just buy a house? You got
that doesn't work.
Go first, boy. Easier said than done to get the op in hand, but maybe we'll see John Olsen save up for one. Just buy less Starbucks coffee, yeah?
I reckon I could buy a house with the amount of coffee I've consumed.
Yeah, same for me, but with energy drinks. I don't like the smell of coffee.
That smell of coffee. Disappointed. I need the coach to Full Sense to hover over you now. Just try and get you that energy kick.
That's a great setup there from the breach, and these tries to take the swing. However, if I saw the Killjoy here on A site, I'm leaving.
Yeah, B is really undefended for Full Sense right now. It's sure there's an Astra, but those stars don't have that same impact as say the Killjoy turrets. And for Full Sense, it's a little bit unorthodox actually to put the Killjoy on A, and Action PH. Actually, Badesky agrees with that as he gets ready to make a little encroachment to this B site.
Let's at least maintain some presence. Timmy's down, but now you've got to deal with the nano swarms as well. That could deal a little bit of damage, and this means that Georgie is isolated here as they close the door. That will not last for long at all. Pinged, potentially. Indeed, they are. They're seen behind the generator. They duck into hell to try and get themselves some cover, and Ayu's finally joined them on the site. But the spike hasn't hit the ground, and Lammy Snacks from the back grabs themselves a shock dart. So much damage has been done here by Full Sense, and I can't believe they doubled down. Oh my goodness, no. You don't get to flip the script like this, Medeski. Okay, they don't see Chalala, who finds themselves a timing. I'm really surprised they opted to go into the nanoswarm setup.
Likewise, that was a big risk, actually. And while it does kind of pay off, it pays off a Full Sense in the sense they win the round, but it all pays off for Action PH. In the end, they do get the site. It's actually the flanking players that come through tree that what kills them, rather than the nano swarm. Georgie does dodge it fairly well, but I'm interested to see if this means that the members of Action PH have sort of re-established themselves. And well, Ayu's got next round to do that because John Olsen just did something unspeakable, Harry.
All right, Diablo style, I see. Channeling their inner CNED. World Champion Jet. I'm surprised they scoped in for that one. Not showing off their no-scope prowess, but you know what? It's not 100% accurate. We'll give you that. One of the things that, while this is likely going to be a slaughter, so we can talk tactics, I'm surprised that we saw Georgie take that. What was that? I'm surprised we saw Georgie take the entry there to go past the nanoswarms and then shut down the door while there was a smoke already on it, because that meant the door could be destroyed for free, because guess what? It's only Georgie who's into the site. There's not going to be any punishment for you destroying that door.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I quite like the fact that he was able to close it. I think that it's just saving a problem that definitely would have become a problem later, particularly when you haven't killed anyone, even though you've pushed a site. It means that they're either hiding somewhere and you haven't found them, or they're about to swing you from heaven. So being able to just temporarily cut off tree means that you can at least tunnel vision yourselves a little bit onto the players that you're about to fight. That round's over with, though, and for full sense, it's going to be their bonus now. Not too much of a bonus, there are a few Vandals in the mix, but the full buy of Action PH, as they stare down A lobby, they're ready to push straight into long clear wine and then cascade onto the same site, where it's going to be Chalala, the lone man on the defense.
They are going to face the Vandal mode. Look at the speed here with these. They are looking to just move and overwhelm, but Lammy Snack spams through the smoke, and Emmons made to pay for it. No traces from those silenced weapons, and that's fully being exploited here. It will be a free plant for Zero Deathio, but now everyone on the site, and there are 4 players going up against 5 defenders. Oh, that's a good bit of breach utility. They force Zero Deathio to give away that drone because they cannot stay in the channeling position. Otherwise, they would be dying. PTC sets up even more. It's a full blind onto Georgie. They have no idea that John Olsen's on the site. The call's coming from inside the house, Trevor.
What was that retake? What was that retake, Harry? That was masterful. Can we get a replay of that in slow motion? Because that was a double flash onto the onto under heaven to be able to shut them down. That was then followed up by the dive over through to tree to be able to shut down the player watching heaven. On top of the 2 heaven players who dive in sync to kill the player generator while the player under heaven is flashed. That is cohesion you just don't see. And well, for full sense, that's how you show not just Action PH, but Kingsman, that you're coming for him.
We talked about how important it was going to be to focus on the cleanliness of these retakes with a breach composition, because you're not going to be able to know in advance where they're coming from with the limited informational capacity you have. And that was perfect. They really got John Olsen in there. And these are the kind of it's not like the inverse executes that we saw on Breeze, right? Just getting John Olsen into position where there were no safe zones using blind.
You're absolutely right, Evan. Needs to be a little bit careful for now. He's going to try and break through this. Just try and get a little bit of early map control. But for Action PH, I would argue that they're a little bit lost now. These rounds they should have been winning. They've been lost. Now what do?
Action PH have got a worrying trend here of winning both, or rather losing both of their rifle buy rounds against bonuses. And well, when it comes to rifles versus rifles, they've made their mark. Hey man, look at that. Good backing away. They know they're close, however, because of a flash, and PTC puts them in the grave. V is unable to snap as well as they would like, but still it's a team ace, and that's just a little bit of celebration here for full sense.
9-7, Harry. That's how full sense are currently looking, and they have the Cosmic Divide available as well for the next retake. Action PH do have a lockdown, which may very well secure themselves with a take onto whatever site they dare choose. It looks like it will be a fairly common decision to make once you do have the lockdown available. And for full sense's retake utility, let's see if it is enough.
I want to see them use this lockdown as soon as possible, before Lammy Snacks gets access to the Hunter's Fury. Speedy play through mid. Georgie making plenty of noise here. They are going to be spotted. And will this Nano Swarm be popped? I think the Nano Swarm, yep, there it is. That's going to cut them off about a moment. John Olsen is cut off the tip of a spear. Now it's just a wooden pole, mate. That ain't a spear, that's a twig.
Unfortunately, that staff won't do much because Airman, while he is usually the man on that second entry, he just isn't having the game today. He'll be forced out of position by the breach and unanimously executed.
Oh, Breach is just so good at forcing you to either take an unfair fight or make the swing at the timing that's preferred. Zero Defio, unsuspected, the creeping ninja has made their way into the site, but now they've still got to deal with Lammy Snacks. It's just timing after timing. Zero Defio keeps catching people looking the other way to a 2 versus 3 now off the back of the artist formerly known as Tesseract.
A man down, but they do have that Hunter's Fury, which may
30
not be used
seconds
now.
left.
It may certainly be used in a retake, though. As they look to slowly encroach onto Lammy Sacks, he sees them. He has all the info he needs now, Harry.
Revealed his own location, though, by taking those shots, Kremers. The traces are bright, and they are proud. And that's going to be a plant right here.
Ooh.
This is interesting here. They definitely want to grab this round. But this does also mean that it kind of confirms both of their locations on the site, right? Because otherwise they would be unable to help each other. So you can have that process of elimination as John Olsen and Shalala. Down goes for Divide. John Olsen's going to be right here. Will you get them both? No, they won't get them both, but Shalala versus Zero Defio. Locations are revealed. The gunfight is won, but is there time for the defuse? I'm pretty sure there is, and I do not like that Cosmic Divide.
I don't like that Angel there. Shalala, that's a round they had no business in winning. Shalala really shouldn't be winning a 1v2 like that, and the fact he does is just going to be another harrowing reminder to Action PH that these guys, they made the comeback. This was their map to win, and Full Sense have just turned it around.
I am not just an Astra. I'm a fragger. And I may put them down, but I'm a superstar, baby.
Yeah. But now we're going to be seeing another bit of aggression through what looks like B main from Action PH. Continuing to deploy the odd Owl drone, the odd bit of vision gather, just to figure out where Full Sense have committed. Georgius wants to lead that charge.
Now Swarm taken down as well. Confirms that it wasn't just a touch in mid. And now they've got the attention of the Killjoy.
That family. Moments away from spotting these players in mid, and instead, with Action PH all leaving their positions, bar the Killjoy, who is going to be assigned to Fake. But you may see the Fake with the lockdown here, as Action PH prepare what will be their execution over to A. But even if they do use the lockdown, Full Sense, look at this read they have on Action PH right now.
The read is solid. Medeski going to try to sell the Fake. Yes, that brings PTC over. And that might be what's needed. But still, the Cosmic Divide will be available if someone feels themselves besieged. John Olsen knows that this could be shenanigans. Cosmic Divide not going to be used right here. And in comes the Hunter's Fury. From afar, they try to clear heaven. Shalala is down, so the retake will not be given over. But Emin here continues to ping away. The suppression is going to absolutely break so many members of Full Sense. The second you take the peak, Georgie takes your head off. The plant's going to be easy. They were never worried about time. And with Rolling Thunder, they're going to go in with the lockdown. Coming around the back here, Georgie's just going to make sure that the feels not safe at all. Coming in from all these different sides. Surely the can't take this one out. The Symphony of Vandals is given over. You're coming on in instantly. No, they all missed.
Oh,
How did
God.
they miss? How did they miss?
What?
Family.
Oh,
How
no.
did they all miss, Kremmer? That is absolute clownery.
How? Action PH. That was their round, Harry. That was the round that we haven't seen from them yet. A round where they are desperately trying to pull themselves back into this game, and they just can't.
All right, shut it down. Valorant is done. There will never be a play more stupid than that.
Is this real life?
I am confident in saying we will never cast a more stupid play.
Get out of my life.
I mean, I guess Full Sense take 11, but that's gonna haunt Action PH for the rest of their lives.
You said that it's so much harder to get on tilt on boot camp, Kremmer. What's for tilt check?
I reckon it's pretty bad.
At that point, all you can do is
pretty
laugh.
bad.
Otherwise, you're simply gonna break down and cry.
Yep. It's laugh now and then scream cry into your pillow later on.
All right, take on a B. Let's talk about it. Georgie here is going to get hit by the fault line, but they'll still catch the headshot that they need. This is a clean execute right here from Action PH, looking to make up for the fiesta that we just saw. And I ain't talking Fords.
No, we're not. And with a huge alt kind of storage built up for Full Sense here, they could make it this damaging for Action PH. But they decide, you know what? After that lockdown, we're just going to back off. We'll let that simmer for a bit. As Action PH now, they they make it 8, but I don't think their mental's going to recover.
Yeah, it makes sense here, but Full Sense don't want to risk the operator as well as the 3 ultimates they have currently available. 4, in fact, if you look over towards that Rolling Thunder. If they still had PTC alive, I think this would be a different story. But they've only given away 2 rifles, and they desperately want to guarantee that match point / overtime on the 12. It's a good thrifty round, though. Georgie had an excellent retake, or rather an excellent site take, to get rid of PTC.
That he did, and he just completely destroys it. With that, we're going to be seeing a 11-8 lead established. Full Sense 2 away from a victory. Action PH 3 away from an equalizer. I can't help but think that Action PH are in a kind of weird position now where everything doesn't feel real. Like, having lost around like that.
It's a fever dream, man.
Yeah, having lost around like that, you just do your default and hope for the best. Full Sense, they have so many ults to expend here. There's a bit of a stack in mid as well. Bait and switch ready for Johnny Olsen as he tries to hunt the first player.
I'm really surprised that they allowed for the Jet to be the one to destroy that and reveal the operator. Especially considering we have 2 players here anyway. That's a lovely stun right there, but the Love family won't be able to do too much about it. Everyone just backs off into cover. They take themselves an elevated position with a gap in the smoke. This could be deadly.
The Love family hiding by a tree now, praying he isn't caught out. Instead,
The pizza stack, boys.
Pizza stack
no
may
one
work.
expects the pizza stack.
It's a hybrid one, but Action PH is turning their attention back to B. But PTC, he's read it. Look at that Rolling Thunder. That's timed perfectly.
Might be timed perfectly, Crammer, but I'm not sure if I like it still. Now they're going to be going straight into the eyes of John Olsen, who smokes themselves off from this. They've given a little bit of a run around here, and eventually it's going to come down to playing in here. It was a beautiful fault line, but Medeski's still not going to be able to do more than one here. Medeski grabs the frag onto their counterpart. John Olsen's finally going to be able to make their presence known, but I think they may have tried to get a little bit too smart with this. They're looking to try and stop the plant. Medeski on the floor. The spike's been dropped, Kremer. It needs to be picked up by Emin, and indeed it will be. Looking to maybe stop the plant by going overhead, but still the spike will hit the floor. A 5v3 retake with a Cosmic Divide available. An investment here would not be regrettable if you want to try and guarantee your overtime. A moment of waiting, possibly for that recon arrow to come back up. Lammy Snack still has 24 seconds on it though, so at the moment it's all about just trying to breed this discontent, make the fear happen. It's a friendly stun from the breach, which actually stops John Olsen from moving forward too quickly. Edmund, can they do it all by themselves? They'll get 3 out of 4, but unfortunately, no more than that. Overtime is guaranteed now for Full Sense.
If it were to go to the Love family's clutch, then to Eman's clutch, I wouldn't know what to say, Harry. I actually wouldn't have known what to say. As Action PH, yes, Evan gets the consolation prize of, yes, he kills 3 players, he almost gets the 4K. That round is still there. 12 to 8. There's an ult advantage for the members over at Full Sense. That lockdown and Cosmic Divide still available. For Action PH, we do still see the null command available on the KO, and we haven't really seen too much mileage come from the null command in the past. But so to highlight is that every other player is a good 1 or 2 rounds away from any full ultimate usage. So it is down to these 3 to try and either make or break Full Sense's opening match.
Once again, it's Georgie with the big take. It was an abandoned B site. And now they're hoping that, hey, if you guys all want to be trapped in here, we will just take ourselves a bunch of positions and then retake with the lockdown. The Love family has them exactly where he wants them. And with that drone being expended as well, they're just allowing for the time to run. Still for John Olsen, this is going to be a very difficult take with an operator. There's a cosmic divide. Block people off onto the sites. Try and trap them in there. But there are a wide diaspora of positions here at the moment. Action PH are handling it well, but Emma's looking in the wrong direction. Medeski stays alive and is pinged right here, but it feels like the legs have been taken out from under them. Lammy Snacks remains alive, and guess who's already run, mate? Chalalar's called this.
They just get the hell out of there. For Action PH, that's going to be a really, really well-acclaimed round. You also do so much damage to the economy of Full Sense there. I think Full Sense could just buy, but it's going to be a laboured one at that. And for Action PH, dare I say it, Harry, there could be a recovery here. Maybe even an overtime.
Their B-takes are pretty clean. Georgia's got some excellent pathing here, and this is what you kind of give up when you aren't going to play a Cypher who really presents a threat to those Jet entries because of a tripwire yo-yos.
Yeah, absolutely right. And with Full Sense, just taking a moment to just breathe for the time being. Looks like it's going to be Full Sense preparing for a bit of a swing over to A. Sheriffs to support the Vandal that was saved last round. And for Georgie, having smelled eco frags, he's now looking to hunt them.
Oh, PTC is gone. Your retake capacity severely limited, and again, the take on B is free. And one of the things I really like about how Action PH are playing these B-site takes is that they are limiting their presence on the site, so they continue to project power from so many different angles, just as Zero Deathyor is doing right now. Look at this. No, one or two players maybe might play this from the site, but this means that they aren't going to be trapped in here if you have something like a defensive lockdown. B right now may need to be reinforced and look for more retakes on A where it can be slightly more tenable.
Absolutely right. Zero Deathio. Catch out a player. It's Georgie, though. What a shot that was. John also falls, and like that, we're going to see a 5-2 lead now as Action PH are going to hit double digits off the back of this. There's a world, Harry, where if this goes to overtime, I actually see Action PH winning this.
This was the eco given over, though. Planning for the next round, Kremer, not for this one. And a little bit of a lost streak as well. Lammy Snacks will die to the spike just to get themselves another ult point. Thinking that that's going to be quite important to deal with the offensive capacity of the lockdown.
Great round by Georgie. And the lockdown for both teams is available. I feel like this lockdown game may just be a game of cat and mouse, Harry, where no one wants to use it first because the second one will be what matters. And with Action PH going for such a heavy stack on A, it looks like we may see the odd peek over from Chalala here, with PTC assisting with that aftershock.
Chalala hears it. There's the gravity well. No one is within, but now the jig is up. They know what's being played for, and server rotations will come in. Lammy Snacks will answer the call, and Shalala might die to a fragment here. The fragment goes out, and when Shalala moves to try and extricate themselves, Georgie's there waiting with a scope and a big old bullet.
There's a world, Harry, where Georgie actually helps bring the Action PH to victory, having had a fairly quiet game. This could be where Action PH just turn it around. 2 rounds is very attainable here. There's that counter on the Killjoy ult, and because of that, Full Sense can't push, but neither can Action PH. Instead, Action PH are going to turn their attention back round to B, where we're going to see Jets laying in wait for them. John Olsen, what can he do?
Waiting with the op. Knives are out. It's a swap around, no collateral, but it will at least give pause for thought. 30 seconds remain now. A decision needs to be made. The group prowls out into mid. They smell easy prey from those who were rotating, but it's a good read here from Full Sense. The numbers are even, the ults are even. It's 0 across the board. The Love family looks to try and take someone out from afar, but Emin wins the gunfights. Elsewhere, though, PTC has made up for previous follies. The spike is seen on the floor. It can't be picked up. Emin has to go into a crosshairs of 3. Lammy Snacks is the only one who's needed. And despite the struggle, Full Sense will take their map pick.
Really, really strong performance from Full Sense. But Action PH gave them a big worry throughout that. And for Action PH, this is going to suck. But if it wasn't for the rounds where the Love family just miraculously 1v5'd, that was over. They'd won that. That 1v5 actually lost them the game. It's rough.
I'm tilted just thinking about it, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to sleep tonight. I'm going to dream of that round. And I'm going to wake up in a cold sweat. I'm like, they're missing the lockdown. 3 of them are missing the lockdown. How are 3 of them missing the lockdown?
Yeah, here's the thing though. While Action PH did end up losing that because they were unable to kill that lockdown, it means that the rest of the game they play solidly to be able to come back there. And for me, not shooting a lockdown is something that they can fix between one map and the next map, right? So at least there's that. And it also speaks to me that Haven, our next map, is a map they have a 100% win rate on. It's a map which Full Sense can play but have struggled on in the past. I think we're seeing a third Harry.
Another interesting point is that Full Sense have now kind of turned around how their Ascent might be viewed. This new composition seems to be working a lot better than the ways they previously played Ascent, and that is incredibly important, Kremmer, looking forward to Valorant Esports in 2022, because it's no secret that Ascent is one of the most popular maps in the pool. You cannot be using your Instaban on that map.
Yep, you're absolutely right. We'll take a look at the highlights of this first map, though. And we're going to be able to see just how Action PH were able to make it so close, and of course how Full Sense were able to win. I know there's one highlight that I'm looking forward to, Harry. Guess what it is?
I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it.
I just want to see it again, man. Like,
I know how they all missed, because we did see one player who ran out of magazine. Just ran out of bullets, making the jump forward with the right click on the classic, and they missed as well.
Georgie
lost the Georgie lost the gun duel as well against the single player, and maybe they were by themselves. Maybe they should have focused on just killing the Killjoy. So many different ways to have played that, but there was only one way to lose it, you know? It's like the Doctor Strange. I see one reality in 14,605 where we lose this.
Yeah. It's not great. It is really not great. And as we see a tough position now for the members of Full Sense. Yes, they won this map, but I just can't help but think that Haven is going to be such a difficult map for them to win. I'm inclined to think that when it does go to our final map, of course our final map being Icebox, I just see a world where actually Action PH can clutch this out.
The good news, at least for both of these teams, I think play pretty retake heavy rather than playing preventative defense. And with the setup of Haven having 3 sites, you are usually going to be looking for retake, because it's statistically inevitable that you're going to be outnumbered on sites and you're going to lose them to spike plants.
Well, you're absolutely right. For now, let's see what can be done with this, as there's a very, very close match here. I would like to see the duel between Georgie and John Olsen a little bit more. I think Haven has a little bit more space for ops, particularly kind of on each site, whereas on Ascent, if you have an op, you're playing mid, you know?
Well, one of the scariest parts about one of the scariest parts of both teams, I suppose, about this, I have no idea who I would give MVP to. It was so back and forth, but I'm not entirely sure who would even end up with the most frags or who extracted the most value.
That's very true.
To a degree, PTC was very important and very impressive, but also they lost a load of gunfights that they shouldn't. You got to think about the potential for the clutch from the Killjoy. But does that deserve MVP as much as it deserves 4 LVPs on the other side?
No, that's an MVP for me. That's absolutely.
Here we go.
Look at this.
They're all missing.
Oh my God. Oh, the humanity.
It beggars belief, honestly.
That is just so crushing. And I mean, after that round, I think Full Sense knew they'd won it. It was just a matter of when. Oh, the Love family. I feel like we're about to be in a lot of YouTube compilations. Oh boy, the Love family.
Clip right there.
He's gonna be famous now.
Oh man, that is not the way that Action PH want to be introduced to the world, but unfortunately, it might well be simply unavoidable. Lammy Snacks is going to be your MVP for this map, the IGL. And you know what? Lammy Snacks had a much better run of it in today's matches than I think they did yesterday. Despite them winning yesterday, I think Lammy Snacks was not so much of a... Well, obviously as an IGL, they're a pivotal point, but their mechanical play was not incredibly intrinsically necessary.
No, you're absolutely right. And I'm quite happy that Lammy Snacks gets a MVP in this tournament. I think it's always nice when the IGL gets that little moment in stardom, particularly when they do frag out. And for Lammy Snacks, I was seriously impressed by him there. I believe he was on the Sova, was very bloody good.
Even in the first round, I think they got themselves a shock dart kill, which was which was nice to see because we saw a real lack of those yesterday. The shock darts were kind of starting to get some minimal impact. And between Lammy Snacks and Zero Death Yo, we expect a lot of utility damage from these Sovas. Emin at the bottom of the scoreboard. This does not bode well for Action PH. We talked about consistency issues. Emin can either be the best player in the region or AFK.
Yeah. He really does have some consistency issues. And while Georgie was able to do well for Action PH, he needs his second entry. He needs Airman to do well as well. And while Haven is a map, it's so big, particularly with 3 bomb sites, you need your teammates to be able to do well. You need to be able to trust them. And for Airman, he needs to be able to have a site on lock. And he'll assume he'll be on the Reyna. He needs to have that A site completely locked down.
Meanwhile, on the other side, the second entry of PTC, we expect them to play the Reyna, yes, on Haven. And yesterday, Kramer, it was all about the sewers. They love to play in those A sewers, and I think they won about 80% of the duels they took there. Here's a look at our map recap here at the Zotac Cup Valorant, and you just saw our Zotac MVP as well. This was the pick of Action PH. They believe that this is where they can really make a difference, and from Full Sense, are we going to see thee play Chamber again?
I would love to see a Chamber, Harry. I'd really like to see a Chamber. And it was Lammy Snacks who was on Chamber earlier, I believe. And it was the. He was doing very well on the Chamber, and he had a pretty good game just now. So maybe he's earned it. Maybe he's earned his time on Chamber.
Yeah, I think definitely had a better game on Chamber than Shalala did on Breeze. It was interesting to me if they swapped around who was playing the Chamber between those two maps, but it worked out in the end. Shalala was a little bit less impressive, but I still believe that the Chamber has a place on Breeze. Admittedly, we won't be seeing it in this particular series, but Full Sense, they are one map away, Kramer, from going to the Grand Finals and looking for their revenge on Kingsman. Will they be able to book that ticket? You can find out after this break. The final day of Zotac Cup Valorant is in full swing. This is our last best of three, Kremer. These teams are fighting for a spot in the grand finals. It's a best of five. It's going to be a real test of endurance, mettle, and Valorant skill. And at the moment, Full Sense seem to have a leg up.
That they absolutely do. For me, I'm really interested to see how they're able to do moving on to Haven, a map which Action PH have 100% win rate on, a map which, full sense, yes, it's over 50, yes, kind of circa 60% win rate, but they really don't go into this as favourites, in my opinion. I think Action PH, if they were to win a map in this series, it would be Haven, and if they make Haven convincing, there's a world where Action PH actually pick and then win Icebox as well. So a sense, while full sense were able to win it, I think that scoreline was too close for comfort, particularly when you remember that after that clutch from the Love family, if he didn't convert that, then I actually think Action PH could have won that.
Definitely. That could have been their map, Kremer. They could have got the overtime at least, and then we would have had to have seen how things go from there. But Haven, the big question on my mind, Le Français, is Chamber going to be a part of this roster? And are we going to see the Love family once again absolutely blast their way through both pistol and anti-eco rounds to try and build a good economic precedent? Admittedly, that's exactly what Full Sense did on their own attack on Ascent, but they still got figured out after a while.
You're absolutely right. I would absolutely love for there to be a world where we see a third map that overtime on the third map, because honestly, it is such a close series. I think that it would be given justice to go overtime. I would like to see that. However, I've got a gut feeling that while Action PH may win Haven, I think Full Sense are taking Icebox.
There's a good chance. Like full sense, we haven't seen a huge amount of them on Icebox. And Action PH, admittedly, maybe RU is a Icebox specialist and just activates right there. But once again, I hate to sound like I'm singling someone out, but we need to see Emin break through these consistency barriers, because we've seen on Bind, we've seen on so many maps that Emin can just absolutely decimate an enemy team with some of the cleanest crosshair placement and decision-making that we've seen from a duelist or faux duelist. But
we've also seen from him as well, he can be one of the most effective clutchers as well. When on that KO, he's probably the best KO we've seen this tournament. It's just, he wasn't last game. He just wasn't. And that consistency issue is really making it both hard to predict. It's also making it very hard for, if you are the members of Action PH, to plan attacks. Because if you have a player who's really just doing that badly, then you're going to have to either switch him out, change his position, put him in an easier position so the rest of your team can help support him, so he A, doesn't tilt, and B, hopefully finds that passion or that drive in the next half.
it's interesting to note as well that with the new breach composition on Ascent and the new chamber composition we saw yesterday from Full Sense, that they may well have holistically changed how they approach Valorant as a game in the last few weeks or so, because they're just making some major changes from things that were vaguely working, but now they have a better idea of how they want to work their executes and how they want to be divvying up their cash as well. Because one of the things you've really got to think about with Chamber is that they might not bring as much utility to the field when it comes to their empowerment and their ultimate abilities, but what they do bring is potentially the exchange of not buying as big a weapon to be able to get something like the Headhunter in your hand and utilize accuracy to feed weapons over to either yourself or the rest of your team.
I mean, we saw the mileage the Headhunter got on our last map on Haven, which was between Kingsman and Action PH. And I believe it was Kingsman who brought out that chamber, and he did really damn well. The ult we didn't see too much usage from, but the Headhunter is really where it looks so effective, particularly on those eco rounds, particularly on those pistol rounds, where it's able to level the playing field, even if you don't have armor.
And one of the most important things about the Headhunter that we need to talk about in terms of statistics is that when you're using the ADS, it has no damage drop-off. So you can hit those 100 and I believe 55 damage headshots at whatever range. It works like a Vandal. And that is a big amount of firepower to bring to a round where a lot of people are admittedly, they're not going to have full armor.
Yeah.
That's just, you can't afford it. It's 1,000 credits. You start with 800. And at that range, everyone else is going to be suffering from major damage drop-off.
No, you're absolutely right. Hopefully, as we move into this next map, we'll be seeing that chamber. It's going to be a bit useless if we go with this that isn't chamber picked, but I think it would be fairly wise for there to be one. I mean, last time we saw a Haven from both of these teams, there wasn't a chamber, sure, but I think having seen the one yesterday, it's looking pretty likely.
I think that definitely it's a new full sense, right?
Mm.
It's a new way of approaching the game. They've got with both the breach and the chamber. This has definitely come apart as well as both chamber and fracture have entered the pool, and it has allowed for a huge amount of teams to sort of rejig their specializations. There he is. Is it real,
Ooh.
love?
Do it.
Will it be again? Oh, I don't think Neon's in the competitive pool.
That's a shame.
Not yet.
We could hope. We could hope to see it. And I actually take it back. Yesterday against Liquid Galaxy, we did see the chamber on the Love family. That's the only time we've seen either of these teams pick a chamber. So maybe full sense decide the chamber's worth it. The Love family, I mean, hey, after that clutch over on Ascent, he did what he wants. FR's the RGLs, they sod it. You want to play chamber? Play chamber. Knock yourself out, lad.
On the other side, though, while it is a new dawn, a new day, and a new world for the side of Full Sense, this same composition has been played on Haven by Action PH since December, and they are yet to lose with it. So they're pretty happy with how it's performing thus far. They don't see the need to change anything around, and Emin probably feels pretty comfortable on the sky.
It may be a new dawn, a new day, and a new world, Harry. So for Action PH, I guess you could say they're feeling good. As I was waiting for you to trade that in. I was waiting for that to be combined. But the members of Full Sense, it looks like we're going to see that chamber there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing just how that's able to play up against the kind of more standard composition we see from Action PH. And with these agents, particularly with a double duelist and chamber, it means that you can go really, really aggressive and still have the... I know chamber isn't really a duelist, but I see it as one. And so you still have that extra firepower behind you, even if one of your duelists dies. So there is no downside to going really aggressive if you are one of the members of Full Sense.
The chambers are very difficult duelists to classify. Yes, they control areas with their trademarks and the slows, but the increased firepower from the empowerment ability of the Headhunter just doesn't really fit in with much else in Valorant apart from maybe Jet's Bladestorm, and that's an ultimate. So they kind of run in their own circles, as it were.
Yeah.
And I wonder here, Action PH, how often have they actually gone up against the chamber in a true competitive environment? Because that's one of the things you've really got to think about on a newer agent.
I would garner not much. For Charla, he's seen the push to C, and he doesn't want any part of it. Actually, PH going to be able to secure this site, but what it means for Full Sense is it's time for a 5-on-5 retake carry, and if there was a way for us to kickstart Haven, I'm glad this is it.
Here's the Headhunter. That's what we were talking about. In the hands of the Love family. Will they see anyone here? Emmett's already taken a little bit of damage. That's going to be one, but nothing more than this. And now PTC, they cannot get themselves anything more. No devours, no dismisses. And the attackers now have themselves an advantage. I love how they've played. They've planted here for the retake. That smoke is going to complicate matters. Moving on in with this Sheriff. John Olsen is doing so much damage, but Georgie's trying to crack it open from the back. At range, the Frenzy will take out John Olsen. An upgrade is given over to a Sheriff, and that's a good start from Action PH.
They may be battered and bruised, but we are going to be seeing Action PH find that pistol round. Remember, Full Sense, this is not their map pick. For Action PH, this is a 100% win rate over the course of the last 7 times they've played this map. Of course, they have not lost the map after playing it for most of this year, if that means anything, even though it is still January. As Action PH, they now have to really, really try and at least keep the pressure on to Full Sense, to make it very clear to them that it ain't winning.
Georgie gonna take. What was that? Lovely little adjustment upwards. A dink and a body shot will finish off PTC. And this is already looking, as you'd expect, for an anti-eco versus the pistols. Chalala's going to be sent scurrying and retaking into this. Kind of beggars belief. That's a cheeky star. What's that for?
It's actually a one-way, I guess.
Oh, they hit within.
Enemy remaining.
LammySnack's got one, and John Olsen's got 2-3. John Olsen! Now they've got a 1v1 against Medeski. They've picked themselves up a Spectre. They decided not to shoot against the Bulldog, but admittedly, this means that the bonus might be untenable.
It's not much of a bonus, is it? If it's only a Bulldog that was saved. John Olsen, welcome to the game, buddy.
It's not much of a bonus, only a Bulldog was saved, and that's the last time I leave a Yelp review for a kennel.
John Olsen. He's actually got the knives available as well. So I'm surprised they go for the full buy off the back of this. Bear in mind that Sheer Deathio is going to be able to bring out the Hunter's Fury off the back of this round. It's more of a builder round if you are one of the Action PH members. Yes, you have the equipment. Yes, you do have the buy, but you have the abilities to back it up. And so for Georgie, see how aggressive he's going to be trying to kickstart this attack to be.
John Olsen has not opted to go for the Bladestorm here. Medeski lines it up, giving John Olsen a taste of his own medicine. Those sheriffs are pretty good, eh, boss? Oh, the Love Family saves that one and saves it hard. Wow. Okay. Playing from the back now, the Bulldog in the hands of Georgie once more. Out goes the drone. I'm not sure how many it will see. It will at least see the chamber. And now PTC snugs up within the smoke. The second they exit, Medeski can see. The smoke has to be refreshed. That's the half. Georgie has to move on forward. And the Sonic Arrow's right on top of them. It dug into my feet, boys. I'm going to need bigger shoes. They try to hold the defuse, and it will be a round win. But for the buy round, Kremer, this is not great for Full Sense.
No, it's not. You're going to say huge economic damage off the back of that. I think they could just invest if they're really careful with their economy. But what I'd rather see is Georgie just drop... Georgie, I do apologize. John Olsen drop a weapon, go for the Bladestorm, and then allow his team to have the superior buy while he's using his ults. And it would also mean that for Action PH, yes, you guys don't quite have the buy to match it, or you don't have the economy to match it, but there's an off chance that you get all your ults up this round.
There it is, John Olsen with but a classic and a blade. Oh, you were out buying your rifles.
Grounded.
I was here mastering the blades, and Georgie has felt the business end of that blade. That's a recoverable weapon as well now. That's beautiful stuff. But Leah takes away the sight. You thought sewers was your territory. You could not be more wrong. PTC owns these sewers. He's the Rat King.
That he is. And Harry, I won't lie. If you're Full Sense, you don't have the best buy, you don't have any money, and you're against opponents who have about one more buy in them, that's about as successful as a round can be. Granted, you do have to expend the jet ults in order to achieve that, but it's worth it if it means not only equalizing, but getting your economy level with Action PHs. That being said, Action PH, they hit their power spike, the Bladestorm, the Hunter's Fury, the Cosmic Divide, it's all coming online now, which means that Full Sense definitely have a gargantuan task ahead in trying to convert this against those abilities, particularly when you're a man down. But there's a chance.
They've got multiple opening frags here. It's such a difference from yesterday, and that could be what makes Action PH a real contender here on what is, admittedly, not the greatest buy. Evan does get quite a bit more damage out of that than ideally they should. And Shalala is going to be able to comfortably position themselves in heaven here to try and stop this push. There's no point in trying to destroy the lockdown because you weren't on the site anyway. The sites are prepared. The spike will be planted. And there's all the utility. LammySnack dives. Come join me, friends. Unto the breach. Follow the hunter. And join me in glory. And glory shall shower down upon Full Sense.
I'd like to note two things in that, Harry. The first one is that LammySnacks, what's he doing here? He's been playing out of his mind today.
Actually, LammySnacks did this yesterday as well in a retake that really confused the enemy. He just jumps out of heaven, man. He Assassin's Creed's it.
I know. He's like Tarzan. He just swings out.
Let's go! Follow me!
It just works. Also, I want to talk about the impact Shalala had there. Even though he's yet to kill, those stars were perfect.
John Olsen, 9-3. This is a good comeback thus far, considering that there were some struggles early on from Full Sense, but now they've got some weapons in their hands. They are looking hot to drop.
That they are. We look at the ult management. The Empress is available on the Reyna. There's dual Hunter's Furies from both sides. The Cosmic Divide's available for Action PH, though, in place of what the Empress would have been. I kind of favour Action PH's abilities here, at least when it comes to ultimate management, but you need to remember that for Action PH, they have been scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to economy. If they lose this round, they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
And their site takes a limited now without that lockdown. That was one of their major play cards. Here comes the drone. Oh, Georgie will remain undiscovered. That's good news at least, but time begins to tick away. The spike hasn't yet to go down, and this has been pretty well read thus far. 4 members looking to try and stop you from moving into C site. Shalala got a good bit of cover, but John Olsen does not. That's a good opening, and Shalala's been discovered. They could easily be dove upon. And already a touch of damage given over. That's a ping, and that's a destruction. That's a touch too late. Shalala, what can they do to try and secure this? We've seen them play the anchor so well. A full blind is delivered. This is the Emin that we wanted. But the chamber, very much not so. Only good for 1, and this could be 4 players surviving unless PTC goes absolutely nuclear. And they have the chance to do so. They don't use the Empress there, which I would have liked to have seen the Empress. It's not like a high-tier ultimate. Could have helped them in those 1v1s.
It's pretty quick to farm back as well. I'm inclined to agree with you. I would have liked to have seen it not before the clutch, but definitely sooner. Kind of probably when he had teammates left, and he sort of gives himself a bit of target priority, so his teammates can stay alive as well. Nonetheless, though, for Action PH, that's a very clean round there, and Eman's able to step up. It's good to see Eman stepping out kind of before rounds 10. It shows that he absolutely could pull himself together and give the Eman we're kind of expecting to see. I know we're being really harsh on him, but that's because he is brilliant when he wants to be.
Yeah, we've come to expect huge things from Eman. That's beautiful timing there. I'm afraid of that drone's not going to get anything, my friend. You have to get out of the controlling zone. What a good crosshair displacement. Huge brain there from Zero Death Yo. We've displaced the crosshair. Take the swing. Take the shot. Here come the Seekers.
These all of this.
Stands alone for now. Might be able to teleport away. Will try their best to avoid getting flashed. Indeed they will, but still they are exposed and destroyed. John Olsen's on the scene with an operator, and shot after shot continue to rack the nerves of so many players. Johnny's arrived.
Johnny's nuts. He's just nuts. Great round from Full Sense there. And honestly, for me, this little play here from the Sova, that was nuts. It's a shame we didn't get to see the crosshair displacement, because that was seriously impressive.
These little flashes of tactical brilliance, Kramer,
the
Filipino team are showing, which makes me believe that this could be anybody's game. But Tour de Force remains available, and I'm not sure entirely how much. What's that still bounce? I'm not entirely sure if I want to see this on an eco round, kind of play it like a Bladestorm.
Desky, happy to pick up PTC, and as we see Full Sense now go a man down, they need to be fairly careful because Action PH still have the power to bite, and as these Vandals slowly make their way through Garage here, C's going to be besieged.
All right, Lamage Stacks, they're busy ducking, diving, dodging, trying to get themselves out of there. They're taken down by force of power alone. John was so close. And the Trailblazer holds its tongue for but a moment. If John is revealed here by the Trailblazer, no, it's actually been taken down. Good covering there from Chalala. And now silence once again falls upon the pagodas of Haven.
You are divided.
Luckily, Action PH, they've picked the one site that isn't defended. A really nice read by them. I like how they expend the Cosmic Divide as well. They just want to be safe about it, and the way it's positioned means it could very well be A.
30 seconds
There's no way to know until Eman, of course, flashes through.
One of them did get hit by a trademark. That slow was delivered. And these post-plant positions might be very interesting to play from. The Love family, they're so close here. Running up against Sheriffs. Remember, the Sheriff's just fine, though, for RU. At this range, the operator's not ideal. Shalala. Now they're up against a pair of Vandals. Faster on the draw than Zero Deathyo. Looking in the wrong direction. Does John Olsen go up on top of it? They go moment, but they do it just in time. The operator will survive, and that is 5, but not bad for a bit of a half-life.
Oh, my heart, John Olsen. Unscoping just as he sees his opponents.
Oh, I'm scared of Australians.
Yeah, I was like, ah, oh, wait, no, it's okay. It's only you, Sky. This goes back in, gets that kill. And like that, we're going to be seeing a 5-3 lead established.
5 ultimates, Kremer. 5 ultimates. I really want to see this Empress be used like a little bit more freely. Like, it's so easy to farm. It's only 6. It's not really a giga impact ultimate.
Yeah, yeah. We saw it on Icebox quite a bit yesterday as well, when Eman was able to get it very early because he was just playing nuts. I would love to see it get used pretty much the second it comes up, get used to embed yourselves into the rounds, and then go from there.
Georgie avoids damage from the shock dart, hangs out within the smoke for now. It was risky to exit, and they can take out the trademark as well, so it won't be a slow field that is deployed in this place. Here comes the Hunter's Fury, trying to stop the plant. Successful in this endeavor, but needs to be careful not to hit any of their teammates. And Garage will be locked down, Kremer. A second attempt at the plant right here. No one can stop it this time. PTC waits within. They need to use the Empress eventually. I promise. It'll happen at some point. Maybe they just don't like the rate of fire it gives to them. It can make them a little bit less accurate, I suppose, if you miss the first shot.
That would be a weird thing to dislike, but you could be right, Harry.
Oh, that's not ideal from RU. Touch of a choke right there, but Eman, in their own right, is maintaining themselves a good bit of control. John Olsen. So much weight on their mind right now. Do they want to lose the operator? They are going to go up against Zero Deathyo. And they tap upon the spike. But it's simply too late. They've got to save the op. Medeski's going to split as well. Peace out, bruv. And John, they can't escape. Look at how far they got. The op is lost.
That's a great affirmation, PH, as well. And I can't help but think that they're very good at basing Full Sense into taking fights. They really don't want to. But Full Sense there, when they ended up going into that initial duel, PTC going through a smoke into an area that he knows is being contested alone is a bit of a risky play there. And, of course, it doesn't pay off this time. He's still holding on to that Empress. We look over to the ultimates over on Action PH. We're going to see Medeski and Georgie get theirs online this round, as well as have the Trailblazers ready to maybe even kickstart an execution.
Tour de Force, Kremer. This is how they're playing it, just like the Blade Storm. And this has good wall penetration as well. Couple of shots. Oh, they actually take out the Trailblazer with it. Not ideal. However, back off they go. A couple bullets remain. 4, in fact. I've only got 1 for their Headhunter, because this is ostensibly an eco, or at least a shoot and loot round.
John Olsen has such a deep angle on A here as well. Maybe it's John who's the first man to be tested with one of these snipers, Harry.
Oh, that's a lot.
Big whiff.
There's so much value from a scouting here, Kremer. Both of the long-range murder cannons have been revealed. And that means Georgie's free to just stroll up to B. It will potentially be caught here by the trademark, though.
Now, we'll wait to see this tour de force available for the chamber. And for Action PH, they're really just dancing around the map here. They may time themselves out, all things considered. There's only 20 seconds left, and they've only now committed to C.
Yeah, to get a frag as well. Teleports away from the incoming damage from the Seekers. Zero Deathyo's gone on a sprint. They need to try and get the plant while stuck within. The plant at least comes through, but guess who's here, baby? The Love family's arrived, and I'm afraid the love is being shared very liberally.
really, really nice round from Full Sense there, and I'm really happy with how that tour de force gets used. That first shot gets used on the Hellhound, and you kind of think, that's a bit of a waste. And then, of course, it goes on to land the next 3. So, it shows what we know. That kill there, perfect. Timed with the teleport means that the Seekers don't hit him either. Really, really nice play. And also, the bravery to go on a head glitch, go against a head glitch with a one-shot scoped weapon. That takes balls, Harry.
Some balls français. And they are very much working out. 7-7 now. It's not been a good game for PTC.
Get out of my way.
And now Georgie brings out the Bladestorm, and we know that Georgie is one to be feared.
Right there.
If you disregard them, it's at your own peril.
Oh, the Love family. He's got to be so careful. He knows they're around, but he can't risk the fight as Georgie gets ready to burst the sea.
Shalala. How will they play when it comes to anchoring? Oh my goodness, for throwaway shot. Emin is good though when it comes to the Sheriff. And that's a couple of lootable weapons right here. PTC, however, begins to guard them. And this sea site, well scattered with amazing armaments, is not one that can be accessed by Action PH. They're going to have to try and use maybe their ultimates over here. I don't think I'd want to see the ultimate used here in conjunction with a Marshall take. It's very aggressive and it's very loud as they come on through. What can John Olsen do? They might well be overwhelmed. One onto Emin and no damage taken. And now all they need to do is wait for reinforcements in a 3 versus 2. John Olsen will be spotted by the turret when they take this swing. And when you take the swing against the op, you best be ready. Once again, Lammy Snack says into the breach. It's a trademark move, Kremer. And it comes up trumps.
Have all of Lammy Snack's kills been by diving out of heaven, then killing someone?
Maybe.
He's like a parkour expert. I must jump before he does any action.
Exactly. You got to do a superhero landing, otherwise, what's the point? And this is a great defensive half here. If you can get 8 rounds on a defensive half of Haven, you are laughing, mate.
There they are. For now, we're going to be seeing a tough position now with players of Full Sense. I mean, they have a little bit of utility to work with, so it's not the end of the world if you are a Full Sense member, but Action PH do have that ult advantage. We're at a stage now where, for Full Sense, if they lose the rest of the, well, they lose the final round of the half, it's not the end of the world. I think Action PH 7-5. I mean, we saw how close it went over on Ascent. There's no downside to it.
All your C's belong to us, Georgie. Oh, BTC's made to look absolutely foolish. Goes down on top of the Love family. But eyes to the sky. The Frenchman gets everything they want done. The spike has not been planted just yet, and that needs to be done before this wall drops. The timing! Oh, Kremer, it's all gone wrong.
No.
They won't win this duel. Zero Death here might be able to save it just yet. 5 points is what Action PH wants, but they don't know about John Olsen yet. No one's got eyes over on Garage. Ideally, it's not the right weapon. The operator in a 1 versus 2. This is very much against them, and they're fully blinded. Does anyone bother to take the swing? No, they don't. They ascertain the presence and play the time. It's a smart way for Action PH to do this. Closing the distance straight into the crossfire, and Emin hits the headshot to put this one to bed.
Honestly, that's a great way. That's a great way to be able to edge your half at 7-5. Both teams are going to be pretty happy with that. We have been kindly told, Harry, by the chat, that we, of course, are big noobs when it comes to pronouncing things. It's not the Love family, it's T Love family. I do apologize, guys. We're really bad with names. We're bad with names.
Like,
thanks for letting us know, though.
I think you might even be getting trolled there, mate.
What? Am I being trolled?
Maybe. Who knows? I just read the names that are in the lobby. It makes most sense for us. If you know who we're referring to, then that's a dub, in my opinion. Let's have a look at these first half highlights, Kremer. It has been a wild one.
That it has been. For now, we're going to have to see just how this... I'm really interested to see how the second half pans out. I mean, it looks like a repeat of Ascent, right? However, this time, Action PH have really tightened up their attack. They're making many many less mistakes. And honestly, I'm quite liking how they're really punishing any bit of aggression from Full Sense that goes unwarranted.
Maybe it is T-Love. You know what? I'm happy with that. Reminds me of the old A-Team. Mr. T-Love.
Mr. T.
Tell you what, Medeski has been quite impressive in getting quite a few opening frags on the way towards A, where this has previously been PTC's fiefdom. And PTC, while they did get one impressive round in sewers, I think that maybe Action PH have been watching the tape. They've been watching the tape and they've been like, you know what? Maybe we won't challenge PTC in their own zone. Don't let him into his zone.
Yeah. Well, whatever PTC's doing, we can't let that happen. The rest of the team sort of kind of nods and agrees and goes, okay, and then PTC was never challenged for the rest of the game. As Full Sense, what I like as well about Full Sense, which Action PH have also done very well, is they don't stack ultimates. We don't see kind of a needless ultimate. It's always got a purpose behind it. And what you do have a lot of the time is, particularly when you have kind of the latter stages of a half, is if you have 4 ults left, you expend 3 of them in a round, the 4th guy is going to put us in just for the sake of doing it. And it really can mess with your kind of your ultimate economy, particularly when you are trying to hold on to these kind of final 2-3 rounds. Neither team does that. We saw the same story on Ascent where they were just so disciplined. It really made me very impressed, Harry.
Will Georgie wish to play the operator on the defense is the question. Like, we've come to expect that Georgie will be a bit of a monster with it. And it also begs the question, will there be operators on either side? Because certainly we didn't want to play it on the offense. And maybe John Olsen feels the same way about this. And to a degree, you don't need to play the operator on the offense, especially if you've got a chamber. If they're building up tour de force, you can bring that out as a bit of a surprise. Admittedly, it is going to be announced to everyone, who you want to play, let's play. And then you're like, oh no, there's an operator-esque weapon on the field. There's a Frenchman with a large cannon who is here to come and see us. And it might be that maybe they're just going to rely upon the jet for their entry, so it's going to be rifles all the way down for John Olsen.
You're absolutely right, and I'm inclined to agree with you. I think for John Olsen, might as well hold on to the rifles because we haven't really seen him, particularly on Haven, do anything kind of fancy with an op. It's mainly been these rifle rounds where he's been able to kind of gauge his worth. Flip side for Georgie, he has been hitting some wonderful shots with that op, so you might as well hold on to it. But as we've seen, Georgie doesn't like using that op, for half the map.
Yeah, Georgie, not always into it. However, question is, can the momentum of Full Sense be stopped in these first 2 rounds? Because this is where the chamber is at their most dangerous.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. For Georgie, going a bit aggressive here over in A.
And loud, crucially. Lemmy Snacks will hear all of that information. And for now, a concerted effort for mid control. It is smoked at the moment, so we'll be fairly safe to gather some information. Garage will be seen. And RU lies in wait. PTC is going to be the first one to take contact. There we go. PTC now has additional health, even more devour after devour, but simple coalescence of fire is more than enough to take them down. Couple whiffs from Johnny Boy, but Emin will eventually fall. And while it hasn't been a massive showing from T-Love, it's because the rest of their team has beaten them to this. Still, the Headhunter needs to be dealt with, and Lammy Snacks has no capacity for mercy. Pretty well executed there on the pistol.
That was a nasty pistol round from PTC. That little adjustment there, that is just filthy. And for the members of Action PH, that's got to be a pretty stark reality check that you need this map. This is your 100% win rate. A Full Sense the ones to take that from you?
Maybe it will be. Every win streak has to end eventually, Kremer. That's the danger of them. Sentinels found that out the hard way. At the hands of many different teams. PTC, the speed on this once more. Johnny going over the top. Can't find any foes, though. C has been given away, so that it can potentially be retaken. Shala is the one designated to go for the plant. And look at this, the retake positions. You're going to have to fight SMGs in this tight corridor. And that is not in your interest.
Right here.
They know they're coming, but
One enemy
well,
remaining.
I mean, T-Love family, hello. That's completely sorted.
T-Love fragging.
Yeah, T does love fragging because full sense. As you mentioned, they were trapped. Doesn't matter to T-Love family. Though he just tears through them. That'll be a very clean round there. And well, with the 9-5 lead, yes, we're going to see the full buy of Action PH. But if this just doesn't work, full sense close to closing out this series.
I mean, technically you're right that Full Sense were trapped, but I feel more that it was APH were trapped with them, you know?
They're stuck in there with me. It's Full Sense. They get ready for this. Just straight execution. They're not doing anything fancy with splits or kind of slow takes or executions. It is just push, win, move on.
All right, Zero Death Yo needs to take out John Olsen, but looks away to PTC. Noise is made, and you cannot allow Action PH to build up this consistent motif of losing on their first buy round. Georgie, at least with excellent timing. PTC has got the cover. Waits on the Soul Orb for just a moment to see if they want to devour or dismiss. But in the end, the devour won't be worth too much. It'll just reveal their location. As RU starts to move into this 1 versus 3. They've already taken out T-Love. As the swing is taken, this needs to be the timing from Lammy Snacks, and it is. The IGL is coming up so huge for Full Sense, and this is a disturbing trend, Kremer. The Action PH keep losing the 3rd round when they get their full buy.
Which is even scarier if you consider the context, Harry. We're in the lower bracket. You lose this, and you are eliminated from the tournament. You win this, you then have to go on to play a best of 5 against Kingsman.
That is. Ideally, you want to get it done as soon as possible, right? You want to conserve your energy and go in warm. It would be ideal to win this 2-0. Full Sense are hungry for that, and they're hungry for revenge as well. They've been upset by this team out of Malaysia who mega lol. We went to Champions, bro. 2-1 in the first round of the winners bracket. That was a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think we were both equally as surprised to find Full Sense in the lower bracket. As, yeah, credit where credit's due, they have won their way back to what is now top 3. But they still shouldn't have been in the lower bracket while they did so. As Full Sense are going to look to congregate outside A. It's going to be a very well-timed attack as well, because Action PH, they've just left the site completely. The Skies are taking over to B Link, and it means that A is as clear as it gets.
I wonder what has given them a sense that this is happening on C. As far as I've seen, there hasn't been a huge amount of utility dumped over here. To be fair, they are on a force, or at least a half buy, so it is a little bit of a gamble stack, and in this case, they have gambled wrong. PTC, they know that it's possible, and thus here comes the express delivery of a spike, and look at the mini-map for an amusing scurry. Oh no, guys, it's on C.
They exits as all Action PH want here. Exits, and the odd kill would mean that they're able to get an ultimate up sooner. That's it. They're not going to be able to find anything else in this kerfuffle, considering how PTC looks like already set up.
I love the Empress here. I love the choice, but Devour's instant. They go invisible. They can just start playing around. It's health, it's everything they need. I will feast upon your bones, and PTC is eating hearty tonight.
Oh, Harry. 11-5. Do you see Action PH kind of recovering here? Or do you think it's just downhill?
If they're going to recover, it needs to be this round. It's
That's
a
true.
lot on their plate. They are 6 rounds behind. They need 7 in a row to even grab overtime. 8 in a row if they want to win. And
Yeah, that's looking unlikely, isn't it? I mean, as much as I love Action PH, I just don't see that happening. With Full Sense going aggressive once again, Georgie is getting demolished by John Olsen.
You're nothing.
PTC, they found their groove when it comes to the attack. They may not be too defensively minded, Kremer, when it comes to Verena, but that's okay, baby. I'm all about the offense.
That it is, and with Full Sense just backing off. I love this. Even though they're 2 players ahead, they don't want to get too cocky. They don't want to risk giving Action PH an inch because they know that PH will take a mile. As they do just that, they rotate round to B.
Is for sound. They know where it is, so they call in the reinforcements here. The players want to be on the side to try and play it, and Emin is doing exactly what they need to. 2 doors and 2-1, but T-Love manages to strike on back. Now, it's 3 versus 2, and the tour de force is available, but not necessarily needed here. Chalala tears through multiple players. That must have been one heck of a spray transfer.
I don't think it was. 12-5 now, Harry. John Olsen's having an incredible game at the moment, currently going 22-6. And once again, we talk about how the rest of Full Sense are all able to do it while relatively together. LamiSax, BTC, and T-Love family, it's all in the space of 2 kills. T-Love family, as you mentioned, does have that ult available over on the chamber. But the question is it going to be matched by both the Hunter's Fury and the Cosmic Divide?
What's a fake flash? Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. That allows Emin to hit a long-range headshot. 3 HP remains for PTC. A couple of lucky shots sent out, hoping to find themselves a touch of fortune. Hey, go on, mate. Finish it off for us, will you?
Oh.
Don't worry. I will. That was a pretty good call from Action PH. Now we got themselves an
really
advantage. And that might be a recoverable rifle as well.
We're going to be seeing LamiSax head up to mid, though, to try and trade onto Georgie. And, well, that's going to be a tough player to kill. But if he does kill them, that'd be size theirs.
LamiSax, not known for their opening frags, but has had quite the capacity for clutch thus far. They might even just want to lurk right here. And look at this. The rifle defended at the moment. Georgie takes a little bit of damage. LamiSax, though, they thought they were just taking out the alarm bot. And while they did, there was a little bit more than this. The Guardian is getting some real... Shalala gets another double for spray transfers from Shalala. Simply unbelievable. 3 players remain, and APH ain't dead yet.
They're not, but Harry, I think it may not be very... It may be a while before we see any signs of life, and...
6 rounds in a row, baby. We got overtime.
6 rounds in a row is doable, sure, but is it doable now? As Full Sense, they have an ult advantage, they have money, they have a lot of money at that. And for Action PH, it just can't help but feel like wrong place, wrong time.
I need to stop.
All right, John Olsen doesn't want any more of this sewer shenanigans. Moving forward as a duo, PTC and John Olsen are going to get pinged here, admittedly, and that's going to call in the reinforcements. 3 players now stand ready on A, but they are going to be going up against a massive attacking force. They're not yet committed, however, and PTC has been sent into the lurk. They could try and pass by at the same time. Georgie's quick on those, though. LamiSax will grab Zero Death You while they pilot the drone, and Emin needs to win this one. Indeed, they will. Pinged here, but they can extricate their own escape off the back of that blind. A Trailblazer here to try and make sure that something's winnable. Emin's so low. There's so much utility pressure coming on in. But while you try to shoot the bird, Medeski takes the swing. APH have turned on their Gigabrains, but it might be too late.
Oh,
Bloody heck!
What an adjustment that was. And, well, it's all on to Shalala. Once again, he's going to be finished off. And for Action PH, that'll be 7. Really, really good round on their part. And for the members left over on Full Sense, yes, there's money to buy, Harry, but their rounds, it's slowly diminishing.
Finally, it feels like Action PH are playing like a team. That's what we said coming into this, Gremmer, that we wanted to see less Georgie win the game and more Action PH play Valorant.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And with Full Sense now stacked up outside A, let's see what they can do. Prepared to try and trade off one another. So it looks to explode to the site, and well, the aggression of the sky is going to be expected, but it's not given avoidance measures.
Question is, this time, are they just putting PTC into the lurk position once more? Or is it going to be a full execution? T-Love decides that this ends here. I want that grand finals, bruv. And I ain't in the mood to be going in tired. 2 versus 5. The Blaze Storm is out. The Tour de Force is available. The Cosmic Divide as well. Shalala prepares for the plant. And it's a last-ditch attempt here. from Medeski. Are you from the top? That's one. That's two. Will it be three? No, Chalala simply too precise. But will anyone be able to escape? Two players are going to be caught and detained. But still, while you search for them, it's easy. And look at this, for TPU is going to be available as well, I believe. Now it's all about the tap. There's the first barrage of utility. Medeski has to do it all by themselves, but time might be the cruelest mistress. Action PH, they've made their way through here, but this is the final bump in the road, and that bump is bloody big, and it's called Full Sense.
It's less of a bump and more a chasm, isn't it? Full Sense, a great performance on their part there as they progress to our grand finals to be taking on the Kingsmen, a rematch from our very first match in the bracket, in which we were able to see Kingsmen go 2-1 ahead and shut down Full Sense. Since then, they've been sorting their way through the lower brackets until now.
Here at the Zotac Cup, $15,000 are on the line, Kremer. And while a split of that will be going to Action PH, the big prize pot of 8K for our #1 spot hangs in the balance. There's only one series left after what has been a lot of professional Valorant, one of the starting guns for esports and Valorant in this region for 2022. But in the end, only one can wear the crown. It's going to be either the Kingsmen, quite appropriately, or potentially Full Sense.
I'm really up in the air about this. I mean, I want to say Full Sense purely because of how good they looked earlier, but honestly, I think Kingsmen are probably going to be the ones to take it here. That being said, I'm pretty happy with my prediction, Harry. Out of everyone in production who gave a prediction, Formatic, Purple Shrimp, Obby, you, and Devil Dog all said 2-1 to Full Sense there. Sean, he said 2-0 to Action PH, and then I said 2-0 FS, so
I mean, congratulations, Grammy. You bet 2-0 on the favorites. You must feel very intelligent.
I am over the moon right now. This is I made it as a color cast, to be honest. We can retire, Harry. You can retire on my laurels.
Yeah, call it a dub, and let's have a look at a bunch of dubs. We've got ourselves some highlights from the match for you guys to feast your eyes upon. And remember how that Haven went. Remember, this is the end of at least an 8-match win streak on Haven for the side of Action PH, and it's Full Sense with their innovative chamber composition that made it work.
Yeah, I was actually really happy with the chamber over the course of this. I was expecting to see a little bit more mileage from the Headhunter, but it was actually just every other piece of utility chamber had there, which was incredible. Really, really happy with the ult usage, particularly in, I'm trying to remember what round it was. It was where the chamber has to retake C and just scopes on a head glitch.
Oh yeah,
and
that's nasty.
That's both player bravery as well as supreme usage of a character there. So I was really happy with that. And of course, for me,
you want to see bravery?
Yeah, let's say hello to Lowy Slacks, because that man, he is a bold. He leads from the front. He does.
He is. He's a king who leads his troops on the horse.
Yeah,
Jon Snow style. BTC. Oh, this was so intelligent as well. Oh, we don't get to see the the big brain play, but we did see the attention that was gained by the recon dart, and then with the crosshair displacement, the swing was taken. I think one of the things that I'm really happy for here, at least for Action PH, some of the consolation prize, that Medeski looked much better today.
I'm going to be interested to see if we see the same maps in this game against Kingsman, because Full Sense has shown they play Haven quite well. We know that Kingsman play Haven. We know that Kingsman also happen to play Icebox. What was our final map today? We also know that Kingsman, they've got no problem playing Ascent. It felt like actually this veto was a Kingsman veto that just happened to be put onto Full Sensor.
That was very unfortunate for PTC, but
yes, it was.
Speaking of unfortunates, Medeski, I don't know why I guess they were planting there to try and play the post plants down C long, but I would have liked to have seen them play it closer in the cover of a large Radianite box, because that just seems a little bit foolhardy when you know that you don't have the connector to CT secured.
I will admit, Ayu is someone who I've had mixed feelings about kind of throughout this. I was expecting him to be a kind of unstoppable force that cannot ever be matched after seeing him on Icebox. And since then, he definitely, he's not going to mimic Icebox, let's be honest. But he's actually had quite a bit of impacts. And I remember 2 days ago, I said in our first match, Shalala is one of the best Astras who can frag pretty much in an APAC. Ayu is looking to usurp him for that place here. And we saw quite a few occasions, actually, where Ayu was beating Shalala in these aim duels.
One of the things that I really want to highlight in terms of the themes of this match we're going to be seeing after our break, Kremer, is that John Olsen and PTC are doing a great job of getting entry frags and creating a numbers advantage. Let's have a look at our Zotac Cup MVP, though, first. And, of course, is the man getting the entries, John Olsen, coming in, and they're actually going to start moving up the stack in our Zotac MVP standings. Remember, the winner of our overall Zotac MVP for this tournament is going to receive an RTX 3060. So those are pretty hard to get at the moment, guys. That's a big prize that our partners at Zotac and NVIDIA are going to be sending out.
Yeah, absolutely right. And of course, you can say, even more importantly, 3060 is nice, but you can also say that you were the MVP for the Zotac Cup, which I think is even greater achievements. Of course, Eman, he did step it up this game, Harry. Let's be honest, he did step it up. But it wasn't the Eman we are used to seeing. It was stepped up, but it wasn't the godlike stuff we expect from him. And we look over to Medeski, kind of the bottom fragger. The fact that Action PH went from bottom fragger to 10 kills, top fragger 14 kills, really shows that while they win as a team, they lose as a team. And I quite like that. It means that we're not going to see, we can't really blame anyone, which is a very nice position to be in if you're Action PH. It shows that you were just outclassed.
Emin also probably had one of the highest IQ ways to open a round I've ever seen with a fake flash.
That was really nice.
Combined with a swing on the Sheriff, getting that headshot and be like, oh, man. I know I got the dink. I heard the dink. They're not dead. Zero death, yo.
Yeah.
You have your ult, right?
Yeah.
I've got this guy pinned.
Yeah. And it was, really nice bit of teamwork there from Action PH. And I would have loved to have seen more little snippets like that kind of throughout the game. You know, it felt like that was the only real time we saw that cool bit of tech, then ult, instant man advantage.
The series MVP, another for John Olsen, and who can argue with 42 and 22, almost a 2.0 KD over the entirety of 2 maps, an ACS of 271. And now I wanted to have a talk about what I was alluding to at the end of the highlights, which is that John Olsen is doing a great job of getting these entries and securing a man advantage. But if you want someone who can clutch, I think there's no one more clutch in this tournament to get those undermanned series wins or map wins compared to Rizza, who is playing on Kingsman. They have a mind that is absolutely unbreakable when it comes to pressure.
What we saw yesterday between Kingsman and Action PH, that second map, it became very close. And the reason it got so close was because it was Kingsman who just kept winning 1v2s. They just kept winning them. And all it took was for Action PH to sort of tighten up, stop peaking, and then they were able to, convert the rounds they should be converting. And from there, it became very, very close. But for Kingsman, the fact that they were able to winning a 1v2 is not so impressive. Consistently winning a 1v2 is really, really impressive to me. Of course, we'll take a look at our map recap here. We didn't see too many clutches today. However, I think if we went to Icebox, maybe we would have.
That would be where RU gets the clutches, right? Where RU is the difference maker. And Action PH, I think getting third in this is definitely a place from which to try and build a reputation to get those high-tier scrims as we head into the 2022 competitive season, because there's going to be so much action in SEA. 13-10 and 13-7, though. Full Sense come into this looking incredibly strong, and I bet, Kremer, that they are absolutely chomping at the bit. They are hungry as it gets for revenge.
I'm inclined to agree with you, because any time we're going to be seeing Action PH now, they're going to be angling to try and knock out every single SEA team they can find. We look at our MVP standings, and look at that, Harry. We've got a new second place. It's John Olsen. Zesbu, he's coming for you.
John Olsen. They are making their way through across our best of 5, Crema. Our best of 5. They only need to get 1 or 2 MVPs. If they get 1, they need to beat the ACS of Zesbu, which admittedly is going to be pretty damn difficult to do because 260 across all of the games they played was absolutely massive. But John Olsen might be able to grab 2 if they have a couple of good maps in under their belt.
It's like he's not playing good maps already, isn't it? Like, John Olsen's already
Honestly,
playing
Johnny,
good.
Step it up.
Yeah, you're letting the team down. If you want that first place, you got to work for it, man. Yes, 42-22 was all right, but you got to do better than that.
Oh, the Zotac MVP standings, they continually make us wonder. And there's potential here as well that DM could lose their spot to RZA, who has grabbed themselves a couple of MVPs in their own right. Admittedly, for Kingsman, because they haven't had to go through a lower bracket, they've had less series to start building up these MVPs. But there's some excellent prizing there and some excellent prizing for the entirety of our tournament, brought to you by our partners and, of course, Zotac Gaming, Nvidia, LG Ultragear, Crucial, and Corsair. $8,000 for first place, and I believe 4,000 for second. Although someone would probably have to correct me on that. The grand final on your screen right now, Kingsman versus Full Sense, Malaysia going up against Thailand.
This is going to be an absolute slaughter of a game, Harry. I'm not going to ask you a prediction just yet. We'll wait until we're in the break, and that way we can get our whole production team to predict with us. But I think this may be one of the closer games of the tournament. I will be very surprised if we don't see at least 4 maps. 5 potentially as well. It's either way, it's going to be a close one.
This tournament has been running for a couple of weeks now, Crema, and it's all come down to one best of 5. They're very rare in competitive Valorant. Rarely do we go this deep into like best of 5s weren't even tenable for a long time until we got the release of Icebox, because we had to get a set out of the way. So we had 4 maps and we got Icebox in. So hooray, we can have a best of 5, but that means that no one gets bans. At least now we are going to be seeing some unorthodox maps. We are going to be seeing some big plays, and we are going to be hyped off of our seats for the grand finals. You aren't going to want to miss it, so subscribe to the Esports Club here on YouTube. It'll be coming up in a little bit after this break.
I'm trying to walk across the bridges that I've burned. My only way to you is gone, the tide has turned. So give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat. Trapped inside, I forgot to look beyond, I see the other side. So give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat. Now that's an understatement. To walk alone, I guess it's my repayment. Please give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat.
Just another sunny day in Southern California. It's where the people came to